Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through. He's just gonna solidify everything from Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately to back that fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.
The grand finals are now here, and we had to assemble the greatest of the desk that we possibly could have to bring you all the most exciting action forthcoming here at CGL Overwatch. My name is Samtalkz. Joining me, Totryhardray, Chef Billy, and Headrammer as we dissect our 2 competitors for this evening who have made it all of the way in a grueling, but also very entertaining season. We have none other than Nexus going up against Valentine. So Ray, start off with yourself, my buddy. Give me the feelings that we have for tonight.
Look, I think this is just going to be a celebration of the best CGL, and specifically this tier, the NAPC Open tier, has to offer for us. These have been the cleared 2 best teams. Maybe you throw a red team in the mix because they did beat Valentine at one point, but Valentine got their revenge. But these 2 faced each other in the grand final. It is a rematch of the mid-season grand final. I was able to cast that. It was an awesome 5-map series. So I think we're going to see so much great Overwatch on display tonight.
So Billy, going off of that, this is a rematch, right? Blood in the water. Teams looking to either continue their streak or to regain lost glory. And what better way to do it here than the grand finals?
Okay, you just got me hyped. Just hearing you set me up for that. Look, this is a team that I have been looking forward to. And it's because Mari is playing in my favorite tanks in the ecosystem right now. Had that brilliant run through calling all heroes. I tell everybody that if they have not signed her as a losing value on their team. She could actually give a instant value to some of these OWCS teams that are out there right now, just because at some point. So that's the big kicker for me, is how is Mari playing tonight? Is she on her game? Because if she's on her game, she's damn near unstoppable. And I don't care who Nexus is at that point, because she has proven time and time again for years now, she is at that, she's right at that tier break. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking like the hotties, we're talking like Hawks, we're talking like that. There's a tier break. And I think that she's right at that upper echelon of that tier break, about to break into superstardom. Just needs to get a massive couple of titles under their belt. And I think that tonight might be a chance for them to do it. Also, we got some CGL alum here in Ramsu, also known as Zoe. Also had that wonderful Calling All Heroes run, and I love them to death. So, man, this is going to be a good one. I cannot wait. I can't wait till we see the Preds as well.
I can't wait either. But you know what, Headrammer? Not only is this going to be a good one, it might also potentially be a long one. This is a best of 7, a first to 4 series. Couldn't leave it all. Couldn't just leave it to a simple best of 5. Couldn't do that with the grand finals. No, we got to go all of the way, and we got to bring out the best that we have from our competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why these grand finals can be so much fun, because you oftentimes run into these situations where, like, a team might go down 2 maps and maybe start bringing it back, but they just can't completely clutch it out right at the end. But then suddenly they find something that starts working and start kind of working their way back in and be able to bring it back a little bit. And even if it's not, a map 7, which I would hope is map 7. I'll always root for the map 7. You'll never see me not. But it at least gives it an opportunity to have those comebacks and that kind of storyline and potentially get momentum. Because if your team gets momentum, that's kind of everything.
Yeah, that's the most of what we're looking for here. We want to get that momentum, but we also want to see that kind of endurance run that could be from all of our players. Map number 1 looks definitely a lot different than when we get to map number 4, than if we even get to map number 7 all the way over there. Before we go any further talking about these 2 amazing teams, it's not a desk without some fun game shows to go along with it. And who better to guide us through all of this than Headrammer himself. So Headrammer, it's your favorite time of the desk. It's your favorite time of the evening, my friend. Take us away.
Yeah, so I know people say we're here for the grand finals, NAPC Open Tier. We're actually here for the grand finals. What map is that? That's really what we're here for. I understand that you're all ready for this, so let's get started. Actually, let me hide this so I don't listen to spoilers real quick.
I saw Ray and I saw Billy there.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't say anything. No.
Okay.
So.
I thought I was seeing 2, but all right, we got.
All right.
What
map is that?
That.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. It was spinning. What map is that?
That's what you got for us, Headrammer? What map is that? Well,
wow.
That's what
all right. Everyone in the buzzer open?
All right, my buzzer's open.
Okay, a few reminders of the rules for anyone who hasn't seen it before. I will show a map of somewhere on a map in Overwatch. It could be any map. It could be a deathmatch map. It could be a little bit of 1v1 map. It could be anything. And you have to tell me what map it is. You have to buzz in before you tell me.
Yeah.
And if it's a control map, you gotta tell me what point it is.
Oh boy.
Yes. All right, everyone ready?
All right, let's do this.
All right. What map is that? Ray.
That is Circuit Royale.
You are correct.
Oh!
You see, Ray and I actually literally just did a where is that of everything on Circuit Royale. So that was more of a test for Ray, not gonna lie. To see if he remembers.
Wait, whoa. Is this cheating? Is this some behind the scenes fixing?
It's okay, he's not gonna get any of the rest of these, it's fine.
I don't know how I feel about this anymore.
Yeah, okay. Well, what about this map? Really?
Is that Legion Tower?
Which point?
This is Night Market.
Correct.
Woo!
Very good. 1-1.
I misclicked the buzzer. Uh-oh.
What did you click?
I tried to flick over to it, I tried to do some fancy flick.
Oh, you tried to do a little. You've been playing too much Valorant.
Yeah. No, well, I also play Cassidy in Overwatch, okay? And, I
it's true. He's got a cracked Peacekeeper, just saying.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, let's see if you can put it to test with this one.
Ooh.
Ray.
Is that Rialto?
You are correct. It is Rialto.
What the heck, dude? I don't
Ray's
even
been
have.
studying up.
I knew
I
that.
know. I
one
don't even
too.
have time to touch these buzzers. I feel
I
like
you
I
have
had
your
to,
mouse already over it.
I had to clarify what I was touching.
Honestly, I was worried Billy was gonna buzz in before me
Whoa.
on that.
Sam, you remember that time where you used to just buzz without even knowing and then hoping you figured it out?
Yeah, I decided I wanted to go for a different strategy tonight. I don't want to be
Well,
predictable.
it's not working
okay?
so far. I hate to break it to you.
Well, you know what? Buzzing the entire time wasn't working for me either.
Okay,
so
what about now?
I don't know.
Oh, anyone got a buzz in here? Billy?
Suravasa.
Correct. It is Suravasa.
Wow.
Okay. We had a little
We
bit
got-
of fine action here.
We got gamers in here.
Actually,
right now.
wait,
What
no,
the heck?
sorry. That's yeah, it is 2-2. Yeah.
Meow.
Okay. Well, this one. I don't know if you guys are gonna get this one.
That really.
Sam.
New Junk City.
Correct.
No!
Let's
It
go,
is.
baby!
Good job,
Very
Sam.
good. Very
Let's
good.
go, baby! He's back.
Now, walk me through your process this one, thought process this one. 'cause
He's
you
so back.
Because out of all of them, you got that one, which kind of impressed me.
Well, it had the mask on, right? So
Uh-huh,
it
uh-huh.
reminded me of Roadhog. But then I was like, he wouldn't do Junkertown because that's too easy. That's too obvious. And
Yeah.
he wouldn't put two. And then I was like, but you got to get into the mind of Headrammer. You got to think like him. You got to think devious. All right.
Oh.
You put two flashpoint maps back to back. You put the two maps back to back, right?
Mhm.
That's what I thought. That's how I thought that was gonna go.
So interestingly enough, getting my mind on this one actually would be a bad idea because this was Hippy's idea. But you still somehow end up with the correct conclusion, so we'll go with that.
Was Hippy?
Yeah, but what's from this one though?
Oh.
Ray, pretty fast there.
That one is Paraiso.
Correct. Is that what you're gonna guess as well, Billy?
That was my guess as well.
Okay.
I don't like the.
I think we got what 3-2-1 right now.
Yeah,
For
actually,
scores?
yep.
actually
Pretty
Pretty
fast.
close here. But
Pretty-
what about this one,
pretty competitive this week.
Sam?
Uh oh, I accidentally buzzed. Hollywood.
Well, you're correct either way though.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe you should accidentally buzz in a little more.
Let's
3-2.
go.
Sam, you're actually in contention right now.
I know. I'm actually feeling it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
this
Well,
is-
let's. I mean, you already have the. We talked about earlier about getting in that momentum, right?
Yeah, you got to build up the momentum. I got the endurance right now.
Okay. Well, then it's a loser picks map, so you picked this one. Billy.
Horizon Lunar Colony.
No. Sam.
Antarctic Peninsula.
No. Ray.
Is it? I mean, I'm just gonna
Was
have
that-
to guess
were-
at this point.
were-
It is.
Were those
that
two one of your guesses?
Dude, what is that
What they
map
said?
called? I can't think of it. Don't count it. I can't think of it.
Okay. I'll give everyone one more try. I'll reset the buzzers.
Ooh,
Sam, just give your money. You could tie for the lead here if you get this.
I could. That's why I'm trying to think very carefully. Oh, I'm gonna go for it.
Sam.
Is it Watch Point Gibraltar?
No.
Dang.
Billy, Ray, you got an idea? I'm gonna have to skip it soon. Billy?
Dorado.
Correct. It is Dorado.
Nicely done,
Oh.
Billy.
That is nicely done. I also see unfeatured. Please.
What?
In the screenshot.
You got, your Discord. You got the Discord call in the top left.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I was doing this in prep for today.
We got our cameo. We got our producer cameo.
Yes, yes. But, okay, you got that one, but, like, what about this one? Sam.
Blizzard World.
Correct.
You know why? You can see the
Yeah.
B. You can see the BL. You can see the sign in the bottom right.
Oh, yes, you're correct. That's a good point. I actually didn't intentionally leave it there. Well, sometimes I intentionally leave things in to give hints, but good
Yeah,
catch.
it's Blizzard World. I think we're in a three-way tie.
I think you're correct.
Oh my god. It's 3-3-3.
All right, well then, just 1 second here.
That's 20.
I realized I had a typo on my next one, so give me 1 second here.
We got the tiebreaker, right? We do have a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I have one more here. This
Okay.
This is for all the marbles. You ready?
All right, let's do this. Let's do this.
All right.
We got to break up the three-way.
Ray.
Is that Hanaoka?
No.
Damn.
Billy.
Is that
No. Sam?
Well, I guess I'll just go Lijiang Tower.
No,
Yeah,
unfortunately
no.
not. Any final guesses? Or I don't want to end the tie here. Surely, when you can get this.
Where could this be?
So just confirming, since you said Lijiang Tower, this is not like any version of it, right?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Billy.
Is it Hanamura?
Mm-mm.
Nani?
I don't know.
You might have been hearing recently a full CGL team actually won a series on this map.
You said a what?
Recently, a full CGL team won a series on this map.
A series on this map, huh?
Yeah, actually just a few days ago.
Huh. Well, you may have just outed us.
You guys want a hint?
Yes. I think we...
Not an
Oh,
Overwatch
wait, hold
map.
on. Hold. What?
You said it's not an Overwatch map?
Correct.
It's not an Overwatch map.
Oh, come on. I don't know the name of this map, but I'm pretty sure it's from Marvel Rivals. Like, I don't know what the name of the map is called, though.
It is. It's not Castillo. It's Tokyo.
Yeah.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
Castillo?
Yeah, once you said that, I knew it was that map from Marvel Rivals. Okay.
This is cheating. Strike it from the record.
Rigged.
Rigged.
Is it rigged though?
Rigged.
You guys didn't get it.
Shame on this man on screen. Shame on him.
Shame.
No, there's no need to have shame.
I feel like I deserve
Shame.
point one for knowing it was the Marvel's Rivals map.
I think we can give it to Ray.
Yeah.
What?
Screw that.
Yeah. I mean, he got the game. None of you said anything regarding the game.
Yeah, I don't care about a game that's not anything yet.
No.
That is
There's
true.
a 4
I feel
question mark. Yeah,
that.
we can probably leave the question mark there.
Okay. All right. Well,
Asterisk,
congratulations,
question mark.
Ray.
Because Ricky won the tournament. I believe that was his hint.
Yeah, 4 question mark. No, the threesome.
The threesome.
Whoa.
Three-way. Is
We need a
still here. All right.
We need a censorship button.
I'm just saying, first we had the status on Discord, and now we have this. Like, it is looking kind of sus.
Hey guys, okay, we're not going to be here for too much longer, so I got to make sure I enjoy this test as much as I can. Now, going off of the game show, which was awesome. Congratulations, Ray, on being our grand champion of What Map Is That for the final time, at the very least, for this season. I'm sure Headrammer is going to come back with a much more improved version sometime later on.
It means improvement?
Yes. Yes, in the next season. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overview, though, for this season and what we've had from our teams so far. Once again, Nexus going up against Valentine in the NAPC Open tier. Take a look at the bracket as well, more like to see exactly how things have been going for them. And this has been a ringer so far, kind of both of these teams, right? But at the end of the day, Nexus Headrammer is the one that's looking the most dominant at how they've accomplished their run through so far.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, we had Valentine kind of getting knocked down by Red Team, and Nexus seemed to take them out taking on Red Team pretty easily, honestly. And Valentine's had a little bit of a rough pack. Obviously, they overcame their the team that sent them down to losers bracket into 3-2, but it's still a pretty close game, and Nexus took care of them pretty fast. So I think Nexus really hasn't shown really any weaknesses so far in this bracket. Now, things were a little bit different in the midseason tournament, but I think this is I think this is looking pretty dominant for Nexus, honestly.
So, talking about that Valentine lower bracket run, Billy, you were singing the praises of Mari, and this could be one of those situations that we're looking at, right? 3-2, that eventually came into that sort of fruition where they got 3-0'd by Red Team, only to take them down in the lower bracket 3-2.
I mean, we had a patch note hit in the midst of all this going on.
That as well.
And I think that this plays into Valentine's hands here. And I think that's why we're going to, be looking at a lot closer of a series than a lot of people would possibly think about. I mean, tanks have gotten a lot of extra help here as well with this patch notes. So I think that this is going to be a lot closer than people may think. And it's the season of upsets, so I'm ready for an upset. I could absolutely see an upset happening tonight. I went with my brain instead of my heart tonight when it came to my predictions. We'll see that in just a few seconds.
Yeah, the upsets that we may potentially be getting here, Ray, it could be in full force, right? This is going to be a long series. It's one more game tacked on, even if it's a stomp out, even if it's a blowout, a shutout. So these are the kind of opportunities that we're looking at, even seeing how the bracket was going, right? You're 3-2, that's 5 games, that's a lot of Overwatch. And then you have the potential to maybe go to a map number 7. And so this, for both of these teams, a really good opportunity here to take a look back, see how they've been playing, see how they've done, of course, see what their opponents have been able to accomplish.
Yeah, and I'll always be that guy. Potential map number 8 with draw on hybrid, baby.
That is true.
Anyway.
No, true. Let's do it to map 9.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
I'll be asleep if that happens.
Escort. The rare draw on escort.
We can draw hybrid twice. Map 7 is hybrid, I think, if I remember correctly.
All right, you know what? We're going to move past this conversation because I don't want to have any draws. I don't want to call this curse down upon us here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Nexus lineup and see who exactly is playing on it. Once again, though, a lot of very familiar names going on here. I'm gonna touch on you, Ray, because you were singing some of the praises for the Nexus lineup and how they are.
Yeah, so had the pleasure to cast their midseason matchup against Valentine. They were called Last Dinosaur at the time. Melophobia put on a clinic on this Tracer. It was absolutely insane. They put on a show, and the fact that they have Hanbei on the support line, one of like the big names that I'm used to seeing in like the tier 3, tier 2 scene. So feels like they're just upgrading.
Did we lose Ray?
I think
we lost Ray.
We have Thanos snapped Ray.
We got Ray back. Ray, we got you back, buddy. You're talking about upgrading. You may need to upgrade.
Talking about upgrading with Hanbei specifically, they're just getting better. Their support line's amazing, but again, the highlight of this team is that DPS line. Suguru and Melophobia, they tend to make the big plays happen for their team.
We'll see if they're going to be able to make the big plays happen tonight. So let's move past Nexus and see who Valentine is bringing on to the battlefield for the grand finals. Billy, I want to go to you. You were telling us all the stories of what Valentine is capable of, especially Mari. We also need to look at the rest of the lineup and how they piece together in this puzzle.
I mean, Zoe is hot or cold. I mean, when they are burning hot, they're basically unstoppable. Because the Genji is being able to be played a lot more right now, you may see the flex from the Tracer to the Genji, from Ramsus, from Zoe. Snozlar is the more consistent one. Plays a lot of the hit scan. Will also go aerial with the Echo and Afera if needed. But their real strength lies in the front to back, where we see Mari leading the charge, and then the back line is they're propping up, making sure that they've got the resources, that they're very smart with their ultimate usage as well from the support line. So I think top to bottom, this team has been playing together so long. I think there's a lot of familiarity with has a lot to success. So I'm expecting this team to do well tonight. Funny story, going back to Nexus, Jeff and I casted Hanbei with the HSCL when they were still in high school.
Wow.
With Hammer and with Backstab Bud. I've been actually seeing this player for, let's see, it's probably 3.5 years now. The growth, like Ray said, has been meteoric for Hanbei. And that's a huge pickup for that team. So, I mean, I can see why they're doing so well because he was a beast back then. But I think Valentine is going to shock us all.
The electricity is going to be coursing through our veins. I know that much because this series is going to be nothing short of electrifying. Headrammer, it's our favorite. It's my personal favorite time of the evening. We got past your favorite time of the evening, but now it's the time for the caster and the desk predictions. This long series, I got to keep harping on it. But, you know, before we get into that, before we actually bring up the predictions, I want to get your feelings on what we might be seeing here tonight. Just toss out a number.
Want him to toss out how many maps we're playing, or what are we doing here?
Just give me something here. Just give me something, Headrammer. Just.
All right, so I think the number I'm looking at tonight is the number 42, because we all know that is the meaning for life.
Okay, I like that.
But no, I want to see that close series, and I think if Valentine can get their momentum going, I think we could absolutely have a series that goes the distance. If Nexus comes out the gate really strong, it comes hitting. It seems like Valentine, when watching, they seem to be a pretty momentum-based team, and if they do go down kind of early, they can absolutely come back. But I mean, coming back is really hard from a deficit.
It is, and especially when you look at that mountain that you have to climb when you're 3-0, and then you got to begin the reverse sweep. You had to play every map to its absolute utmost perfection. That's also where we get some of the most clutch Overwatch moments in the entire history of this game, when the teams are knowing that their backs are against the wall, and hey, you may be wounded. That's also when you're at your most dangerous, right? When you know that you had to bring everything out on the table and show the world what you are capable of. We're still waiting on getting those predictions up and available, but I think for tonight, what we've been seeing, there we go. We got the predictions. I think, in no surprise for anyone here, is that we are expecting a full Nexus win on the desk. Some of us are a little bit more optimistic about how Nexus is going to get there. Ray, you are a 4-3er. You are the whole map 7 believer.
That I am. Their mid-season match went the distance. It went 5. And so I believe in this matchup. I think, generally speaking, I think Nexus has... I think they're going to have the Hanbei diff on support. I think Hanbei is going to be the best support player in that lobby on both teams. And then DPS-wise, I think Milophobia is going to be the best DPS on the table. But Mari, I think, has a really big gap in the tank line. It's nothing against Dust, but when they played in the midseason, the only tank I saw Dust kind of outdo Mari on was Ramatra, and that was on the final map on Shambali Monastery. That was the only time I saw Dust get an edge on Mari. So I think because of the buffs that we've had to the tanks and how good Mari is, I think it's going to keep them in it, and it's going to go 7. But at the end of the day, I think Nexus gets this.
Billy, you and I, we're believers with each other. We're thinking that Valentine's going to be able to take that map off, but it's still Nexus all the way.
Yeah, I mean, just the firepower, right? You know, I can sing the praises of Valentine all day long, also known as Last Dinosaur, but at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. And Melphobia absolutely went ham in their last matchup, and they haven't had a map taken off of them throughout their entire run throughout this playoff season. So, oh man, you know, when I made my predictions, I was trying to think of every single variable out there that could give Valentine a shot, and I think that Ray hit the nail on the head. I think that it's going to be a tank diff on one of these maps. And they're just not going to be able to move Mari. And then they're going to adapt in the next map and come back. And I think it's going to be a relatively conclusive evening. But I'm also going to put the asterisk out there. Like Headrammer said, if the momentum goes in Valentine's favor, this is going the distance. And it might be the upset of the year.
Might be the upset of the year. Headrammer, you're not expecting that upset to happen. But you're also 4-2. So you still have a little bit more faith that Valentine can give some fight.
Yeah, absolutely. because everyone knows you predict a 4-1, you're just not committed to picking the 4-0. So the 4-2, I think Valentine has a little bit of the they have the ability to fight. Yeah.
Damn, I did not expect the shots. Like, that's something I expect me to say, not Headrammer.
What are the caster predictions? What do the casters say?
Yeah.
So you're saying...
Yeah, see, Time to Light understands.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I mean, my fellow color caster understands, so it's okay.
Time to Light, Soav are both saying that Nexus is also going to be winning, so all across the board.
I'm the only one who believes a full distance fight. That's crazy.
And not only that, but I would say you have the most faith in Valentine as well. None of us think that it's going to go in any other direction than a Nexus victory. So if Valentine does win, it will truly be the greatest upset that'll happen here in CGL, that'll happen here on the desk. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to make us our words. But
I'm here to eat.
Enough.
I'm here to eat if that happens.
Yeah, I'm saying if Mari and Snozzler get going, this is going to be a series.
I know I'm hungry. I'm hungry to eat my words, but I'm also ready to see some Overwatch. You had enough of the desk. Now it is time to finally get into the grand finals of Nexus versus Valentine here at CGL. Gonna throw it over to our casters, Soav and Time to Light. Over to you guys.
We got two confused teams in front of us. League of Legends fans taking on the people stuck in February. I'm Time to Light. Join alongside me here is Soav Denam. And Soav, moving into our final grand final of the season. It's another best of 7 in front of us. And I gotta say, the desk all predicts Nexus, as do we. But there are some stark differences in the score lines we propose will happen in the next couple hours.
Yeah, the real question here, Time, is going to be how close do we think this is? And I got a little bit of a chat with both of these teams from different angles, and I think there's almost two sides to each of these teams. On the one side, you have Valentine, who's very consistent. They're very trained. Talking with the captain there, it felt like they knew they could win if everything goes right, and they feel that they get everything in their control, kind of like what Billy said. And then the other side, Nexus was just like, they were chaos gremlins, quite frankly. They're just like, look, we know what we're doing. We're going to play what we want. We don't fear anything. And look, they had me sold on the 4-0 until I remembered that they did struggle in that mid-season matchup prior, like it was said on the desk. So, I mean, this is really just kind of two teams at the polar ends of the spectrum in regards to like their discipline and how they want to play the game of Overwatch.
And from what we've seen, it looks like Valentine's a little bit more of a malleable team. I mean, taking a loss against Red 3-0 and coming back and winning 3-2 in the lower finals to make it here is insanity to understate what is the obvious. And you're still alive. You're taking on a team that you haven't played since your mid-season matchup. You never saw them on your side of the bracket. They qualified here through the upper side. Now, the benefit is there's no map advantage coming from upper bracket. That's the benefit for Valentine. The disadvantageous position for them, however, is they don't have a lot to go off of because Nexus could have changed a lot about their playstyle with a lot of the recent patches since the last time these two teams took one another on. To understate the obvious, we've seen a lot of collegiate events that have had to change their entire playstyles because of the patches that have happened just before LANs on back-to-back weekends. We saw 2 separate patches on like a Wednesday before a LAN on a Saturday, Sunday, and those changes have really impacted those playstyles. Now here, it's been a little while since we've had a massive patch, 2, maybe 3 weeks, but that's still an important factor when you're looking at these two squads and some of their history.
Oh, absolutely. And considering even chatting with Mari, like you said, when the patches came through, there were buffs to players, to the heroes like Doomfist, like Junker Queen, stuff that they're very consistent in, that we know Mari is good at and knows how to play. So when we are talking about this very crucial tank matchup between Mari and Dust, I think that is going to be a bit of a difference maker here. Can Valentine really play these comps with these tank heroes that they prefer to play, or is Nexus going to kind of force them into something different? Because with all those changes coming through, it's really going to come down to who found their comfort zone first. And both teams say, look, we found our comfort, we've gelled with these changes, we're just going to make it work, and we know what works for us. But it's really going to come down to, in these moments, in almost a pressure test here.
Well, the pressure will start to build as a volcano is in front of us, as our first map of the day has already been determined. We'll take a look at our map, so I suppose map singular. Samoa is where we're headed to start things off. After that, it is loser's pick with a map type restriction. However, the map itself is not restricted to anything outside of what is currently in the pool. I like this style of how things work, I suppose. I like that we have a pseudo preset map, but the upper bracket team gets to select it. And I really like the fact that we are going to see Flashpoint and Push splitting Escort and Hyper.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think when you look at teams that maybe are, you know, there was a joke, you know, some teams are just control teams and they can't win anything else, but those maps like Control and Flashpoint really are similar, and sometimes those teams now they're taking 2. So all of us that, you know, predicted the 4-2, if that is the case and that is to be, those might be the 2 we see. But Samoa is, again, kind of one of those different beasts. Not everybody prefers to play it. We know a lot of teams prefer to scrim, you know, your Lijiang Towers and those classic ones. But looking at what's coming ahead, it's going to come out to it. Nexus is going to show us the Doomfist to start. We'll see if they stay on that overall, because it's quite a bit of things. But Valentine, I'm looking at more over there with the Mari Wrecking Ball, because the rest of these pieces are pretty believable. The question is are they going to... you know, what are they going to stay on this? Because Wrecking Ball has a bit of a, you know, with those changes that came through, there's a bit more of a team advantage versus the still very isolative and kind of pick-based Doomfist that Nexus is going to roll out. It will be the Doomfist for both sides, and it makes sense here. I think we're going to see these go back to Tracers, which is about what I would expect. So we're really going to see half to this, because now Mari is in her element. She's on the Doomfist, so this is going to be really on her shoulders.
So we've got the Doomfist mirror and basically the entire mirror across the board. After those swaps, it is guaranteed. Ramasu will stick with the Tracer. I'm curious to see how Nexus try and open up here. It doesn't seem like they're putting themselves too far out of position, but with Sugareru already the opening pick onto Snozlar, that is not a great start for Valentine, who mostly have to disengage. Mari is sticking around the point, trying to keep her presence here, but it becomes more problematic, to understate the obvious, when you're missing a so yeah.
It's worth noting, Snozlar, I'm sorry, Suguru is playing a little bit sick today, so, you know, there was the joke made from the captain of maybe this is going to be the MJ moment, and it looks like Suguru is going to open it up, and, you know, I would believe that if this is going to be the case with that opening pick.
So that opening pick is mostly nullified with so much time spent between then and now, and Melophobia following up. There goes AJ. A return to form, hopefully for Valentine. But Mari dies. Nice shot from Sugareru. There is the return. It's a pinstripe in the kill feed, though, and mostly an even fight until the later stages where Nexus just forced Valentine off the point. And after almost a minute and change of fighting, Nexus will cap first.
Yeah, say the positive to that is that it was never really ticking up. So Valentine built up those ultimate charges, which means they have a lot more in their bank. It's only Hanbei's Kitsune Rush, and it's going to be used early to try to cut everything off.
Like this decision. Pop it early, pop what you can while you have it, and just keep Valentine at an arm's length. Socially distance yourself. I mean, COVID is still somewhat a factor depending on who you ask, so socially distancing, whether it's in Overwatch or in real life, probably check it. Mari does get the help of the Suzu, keeps themselves alive. Nice shot from AJMR to keep them up, but the problem is, all this is still going Nexus's way, despite the low HP for Sugareru, who is on low health for the entirety of the fight, and despite that, doesn't die, doesn't take lethal damage, and Mari's the last one to go down. Nexus, a very long fight, and still it goes their way.
I love Mari's positioning as she's trying to get in and contest, but it seems like her fear is coming true, that Dust is getting the better with the support of Nexus there. Thankfully, they only committed Kitsune Rush, so they will have Sound Barrier to come in, but there's a few more ults for Nexus, so the longer fight here, as long as Sugaru, you know, pops these rails a little bit later, they should be able to keep this going and push us towards the last fight.
65% on the clock, nowhere near last fight, at least for the time being. We've still got one between then and now, but this fight already with Valentine having to pop Sound Barrier. It's a late Sound Barrier for Nexus, and we all know whoever pops the second usually has the advantage. That seems to be the case here. Mari, great Meteor Strike. Low HP again for Sugareru, who stays alive somehow. It seems like an Immortality Field surrounds the Sojourn, who has yet to go down thus far. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Melophobia finds 4 kills and helped with the 5th onto Snozlar earlier. 90%. This is just a formality.
Yeah, like I said, it goes to the last fight here, and there will be a touch, but I mean, with Kitsune Rush up and Pulse Bomb as well, this is just kind of stalling for the last minutes here. Valentine are expecting Snozlar to come up huge. She has to here.
We'll Well, Snozlar will pick up that overclock, and that may very well be what they need to stay alive. But there goes the Pulse Bomb, a 5th for Melophobia, unanswered by anybody else in the server. Rhine finally breaks the unbeaten streak of Melophobia, but everybody's scared of the Tracer, and understandably so. Nexus will dominate on Beach. They'll escape with round 1 of Samoa, and maybe the predictions were a little bit too liberal the other way.
I mean, hey, this is just hey, we're in a first sub map time. Let's give them a break.
Yeah, that's
Valentine,
true.
Valentine looked pretty solid there. Let's be real. They didn't quite take the fight, but that opening kind of positional foundation was very, very strong, and you could see how Mari was trying to set up and buy the positions for the rest of her team to get in the way, but it was Melophobia who really was taking advantage of all that chaos. And this is what Billy had kind of mentioned. Melophobia has been a standout tracer this entire season, and it's so hard not to expect them to come alive in this moment where it matters most, especially knowing this Nexus squad may not be here in the future. I mean, look at that. Everybody on the team for the side of Nexus, almost in double digits, and barely a few kills for Valentine. That does not bode well if you're a Valentine fan in the chat.
So Sugarera only died once, and that was very
That's
early
nuts.
in the game.
Yep.
Melophobia also only died once. Dust, Rheingai, and Hanbei did not die. And they were not even playing the Baptiste at the time, which would have given them that immortality. So Sugarera does die, maybe a pseudo-caster's curse on that front. Ironic to say at the very least. They barely die at all, and then they die immediately. Nice shot from Snozlar. At least gives them some space to work with, but it is before the control point unlocks, so could be inconsequential depending on how Nexus play.
Yeah, we swapped over to the Maui versus Ramatra setup here with Nexus playing for more of the isolated picks, and Valentine just finally getting over there and bringing Ramsu onto the Genji. So a little bit more pick-based versus the Nexus, who's trying to find an isolation here.
And Mari's already on low HP, but so too is Melophobia, having to puck out that ice block early. Suguru again wins a fight, this one on Amari, and the low HP tank is not long for this world. Wicca low, AJ so too are they, and this is just disastrous for Valentine, who do cap first, yeah, but it's for 20 seconds.
Yeah, not for too long. Hanbei also the first ultimate in the lobby. Worth noting, you know, it's hard not to look at that backline and see the work that is getting put in from them. So Blizzard coming up as well for Nexus. Not a sound barrier for Wicca means that Valentine really have to play this safe. They have to try to survive the Blizzard if they even want to get a chance to flip here, because Nexus is just coming into a treasure trove of commanding space control ultimates that'll just win fights.
Right, Ramsu pops that Dragon Blade too early or in the wrong fight. It could be a very inconsequential and valuable ultimate just in the wrong direction. Immortality field's available, so is the Amplification Matrix, but Melophobia goes down inside of it, and Dust has to disengage mostly. Great job of popping a early Kitsune rush for Valentine, but Suguru takes out Snozlar anyway because they just don't care.
Nah, it's that flu buff. That's what they'll give him the fight back, and it's just here's that blade.
Go for it. They try and send it to the back line, but the immortality field alongside that sound barrier, it becomes an inconsequential blade and a more consequential sound barrier. Yes, Valentine have capped for all this time, an extra 20-30%, if not more, on their cards. The Blizzard's now available. Ramsu's dead. Disaster strikes, and so too does the overclock. Mari tries to pop out the cage in the middle of everything, but isolating everybody inside with you. It's not them trapped with you, it's you trapped with them. And it's Nexus taking full advantage of that isolation. Valentine are completely torn to bits, and Nexus cap back.
Mela committed Blizzard there. I'm not really sure that you needed it, but it was, I guess, a safe play. Hanbei's coming into their next ult around here. So again, it falls on the shoulders of Snozlar. Snozlar is the only ult in the way here, and it has to come up huge now. They've opened up fights before. They need to do it again.
It's the goal here. What can they do with it? Valentine has been given a fair amount of space, almost fully capped without Nexus even touching. But Dust is the one to do so, and they take a decent bit of HP away for those transgressions. But Wicca still dies. And low HP for Mari again. They'll be lucky if they get it alive, which does not seem all that likely. AJ's not likely either, or lucky either.
Nope.
It is again, just a chaotic fight that goes Nexus's way.
I mean, most of that is on the back of Nexus's disengagements. They see and just respect the space. They give up, they hear the rails, and they say, look, let's just get out of the way and not deal with this. And Sugu is, you know, then taking that time to just get in a better position to take that. I mean, they're just going in and getting that better positioning here. They'll have a sound barrier. There should be one last touch, and it's going to force out Kitsune Rush, so Valentine already playing from the hole here.
21 and 2 is Sugareru. We'll keep an eye on the kill feed, see if that number updates towards the later stages of this fight. Final fight territory. Valentine do cap and they pick up an opening kill. So make it 21 and 3 for Sugareru, who dies as soon as we bring up their positive stats for the second time in as many conversations. Valentine at least, we'll say, stave off the obvious.
Again, it's, you know, but Nexus knows that they can give that up, right? They're one fight away from winning. They have Blizzard up. If they're tracking well, they should know they have to play through Sound Barrier, but the rest of those pieces for Nexus are available. And again, now they get the isolation. This should be an easy free pick.
Oh, that's a perfect Blizzard as well. There's no way to stay alive to that, even if you pick up the Sound Barrier from Mari. They were just too isolated. Immortality Field in the middle of everything. Ramsu needs to build up that Dragon Blade, and they're very close to doing so. AJ, after the Sound Barrier, is close on HP with Wicca, but they end up staying alive. Snozlar hits down the Pulse Bomb, but Dust pops the Annihilation, and to full effect, I might add. 99% for Valentine. They at a bare minimum guarantee OT on both sides of this second point. The problem is, they're still on the losing side of this battle. Wicca's coming back into things. Low HP for Snozlar. As the overclocks pop, that very lucky Samoan will be able to get away just barely, but only to delay the inevitable. A nice two-piece from Sugareru who just increases the stats tenfold, and Ramsu will fall as the final chess piece to give checkmate over. Nexus will take Samoa and go up 1-0 in the grand finals.
We all knew it was inevitable in a lot of ways. We all kind of had the money on Nexus, and a lot of it is due to the back of Melophobia here, who put in phenomenal work. And quite honestly, the DPS line from Nexus has just been absolutely phenomenal, just absolutely lighting up the kill feed from start to finish. And it's really hard to manage this, right? You have one Tracer who's trying to get in the back to manage, you know, distracting the Sojourn and trying to play something else. Meanwhile, you know, what is your Sojourn doing? Are they getting harassed? And you can't necessarily see that. You could see at times Ramsu has to double back to try to peel for AJMR, for Snozlar, and you can't really afford to play defensively against a team like Nexus, who just has no respect for this. They are going to get in your face. They are going to find those weak points and isolate it. So if you try to play defensively, they will just continue to take advantage of that.
Somehow I did not see this as it happened, but Ramsu killed Melophobia through the amplification matrix via a deflected and amplified railgun shot from Sugareru. I never caught that. That was a great play. I was wondering how they took so much damage in just one shot. That's exactly how. Sugareru finishes 26 and 4, was 21 and 2 going into that final fight, or one of the two final fights. Melophobia 23 and 3, Dust with 29 kills or eliminations and 0 deaths at the end of things, 10k damage for the tank, and a very dominant DPS and support line coupled by a very clean tank will most often give you a 2-0 in a control map like Samoa.
The other number that kind of stands out to me is AJMR, unfortunately, who I hate to give them a hard time because it's a tough being a flex support player. But when you look at that number, it's 9,000, you know, 3,000 below Hanbei. AJMR has just been getting, unfortunately, just bothered and distracted and having to peel and trying to play aggressively. And realistically, when that's creating other problems, you know, it's unfortunate for Valentine because they had said if we can keep our play clean, if we can keep ourselves focused, we know we can beat this team. And it looks like Nexus is just getting in their heads right now with how these numbers are setting up.
Well, that's map 1 gone. However, there's still a lot of time left. This is a best of 7, first to 4, whatever you want to call it. There is a lot of time in this series still to play. And still a few more maps and map types to talk about as well. That's Samoa gone. There is no recovering that map, nor will it have the opportunity to be played again, which is probably a good thing if you're looking at this from the Valentine perspective. But we've got a hybrid map on the cards here, Soev, and I gotta say, I'm a pretty big fan of it. This is like top 3 of my maps overall in Overwatch, just not even in hybrid.
Yeah, look, I'm excited. I would so much rather see Midtown than Scrims Row. I mean, I know a lot of teams are really coming around onto this, especially because of the kind of flexibility that you can get on the opening point, plus the streets phase, where you have to really need to control the high ground. It really enables you to play those dive tanks, which a lot of these players are going to want to play things like the Doomfist or the Winston here. So, you know, again, a calculated play, knowing that Mari wants to play things like Doomfist or wants to try to keep that dive rolling. I think this is a great read. I think the question is, again, what happens when you put Nexus into the situation? Are they going to try to mirror you? Because they did prove that they can win in the Doomfist mirror. So I think you can win, though, if you're Valentine. You just need to kind of alter your shot calling a little bit. Like, that's just kind of the small tweaks that you have to make in the grand finals, right?
I mean, yeah, you combine that with having to very meticulously pick a map that favors you, but also completely disfavors your opponent. Sometimes there's a map that hurts your opponents more than it helps you, but by proxy, it helps you more. There's a lot of difficulties when picking maps, especially in the middle of a series that has not been played all that far out. In this instance, we've seen Samoa. It was 100-0 first point, 100-99 second point. We have not seen a lot of Overwatch played in, we'll say, the last 10-15 minutes. There's still a lot left to see, and because of that, there's still a lot left to learn. Now, the saying used to go, you either win or you learn. Here, hopefully Valentine have done a lot of learning heading into Midtown because they very much need it.
I think the things that we needed to learn are we need to shut down the DPS line. Just straight up. We need to get way more pressure onto them. I know we've been diving supports. I know we've been trying to contest and make sure we can get picks, but it's very clear that you're not going to be able to contest the Tracer. So you really, really need to contest the Sojourn here. That's going to be the only way you keep your team going. And it needs to be a team effort. We need to fully commit to those dives. We need to get multiple people in on them to confirm those kills. We can't just hope that Mari is going to be able to get us in, disrupt, and maybe get a pick on the way out. We need to get more in on that to complete a kill.
So with Midtown being second up, we also have our side selection. Nexus has gotten the side selection because they did not pick the map, and they chose attack. Now, personally, I love picking defense, but at the same time, I understand why teams want to choose on the attack. It objectively makes sense, and if you're looking at this from some of the individuals' perspective, what would you rather have? A definitive point where you have to take on the attacking side, or a definitive point you have to defend on the defensive side? It's really just a preference point. I prefer defense. Other teams, like Nexus, as we go into the game, obviously do not.
No, Nexus is a very aggressive team, so they would love to just set the pace and say, all right, look, we planted the flag at the end. Now it's your turn. So I see no reason for them not to just take that when that's their choice. Of course they want to set the pace. They've been setting the pace so far in the previous map, and, what they roll out on attack is going to be different. Valentine's showing us the Sigma look with Wicca over on that signature Iliari of hers. I do think I like this. This is a lot more stable. It's a lot more grounded. It's going to be hard to force this team out, and this protects Snozlar and AJMR a lot more, so I really like these adaptations here. The question is what is Nexus going to bring out with it? Do they keep this? I don't think Melophobia is staying on the Widow, maybe for an opening shot, but we're going to see the Melotracer again. The question to me is, does Dust come out and play this into Sigma? If so, it may not stay long, because it's just not the greatest matchup. You'd really kind of rather not go into it. Yeah, it's going to be the Winston instead. I like that so much better. Even without knowing what's going on, this is immediately a better look going into what Valentine has out. They're going to be very happy to see this coming out the gates.
Nexus running with Dust on the Winston, Mari with the Sigma, and as of right now, they've at least done more damage than they've taken. That's a good start, but by no means are they out of the woods just yet. Sugareru, very nice movement tech, and absolutely clotheslines Ramsu. Say goodbye, annihilated Tracer, Hanbei follows up onto Wicca, and I think our first point's already done. Disaster has struck, and thy name is Sugareru.
Yeah, that was a series of unfortunate events there, because I don't think Ramsu expected just to get kind of clipped like that. That was a great flick to catch it, but again, that's what happens when you dive this very stable comp, right? You're just going to win out because they have to be playing together. Wicca's going to give up and go to the Brig now, and yeah, I mean, that's your answer for the anti-dive. There's going to be a chance. They only kept one, so I guess there will be a chance for Valentine to make a touch here, especially after this hold for now.
More than that, they completely forced Nexus back and actually want to fight onto Sugareru. Maybe a second on towards that Lucio. No, probably a good idea to back away. Ramsu agrees and disengages. All things considered, Valentine played that fairly well outside of the opening pick and a half. They had a problem early. They figured out what that problem was. They needed a little bit of sustainability for those two DPS players to get back and re-engage, or DPS and support players to get back and re-engage. Wicca swaps over to the Brig. You said it, deal with the dive. Brig's probably the best decision for it.
Yeah, was literally designed to do that. So now Nexus have a problem, and that's finding a target, especially through this Flux and combo here. And now Ramsu going down means it's worse.
Oh, but the Immortality Field lands. That's it. Pulse Bomb was good. The Immortality Field was better, and then the follow-up was just as lethal. It is Nexus cleaning house. Sprung a while ago, but cleaning is still ever present and necessary. Nexus is very good on the attacking side.
can we just talk about that timing for a minute? Because the timing, the execution of that was just on point between Melophobia dropping that, and you can see the different prongs attacks as they came in, how quickly that kill fed light up. That was so calculated on the side of Nexus that I wish I could have the overhead, because that was just so calculated in exactly every moment they did. And now they're leading with these ultimates. They still don't have a sound barrier, so Mari's probably going to have to play this Flux a bit more eventually. They do have the high ground to kind of use it from and give them an advantage, but it's going to be tough when you have to compete into these 3 other ults across from them.
Especially when Nexus is just patiently waiting for their time to strike. They don't have to do all that much right now, while the point is just passively moving without all that much of a quick engagement. There goes the aforementioned Flux. It finds 2. Lethal damage onto 1. RhinoVod is finished off by the melee of Ramsu. But Dust now pops their Primal and takes a decent bit of damage in the process and just has to disengage. Great hold from Valentine. They only expend 1 ultimate. They force out Dusts as well alongside the Kitsune Rush beforehand, and they're still following up with kills. This is a great stagger to follow up on the early difficulties they've had on the defense, and it works. Dust is forced to swap after popping the Primal. They'll go on to the Ramatra against Ramsu, and Valentine have forced disengagements from Nexus.
Yeah, Nexus just, again, they thought they could win it. On paper, they maybe had the advantage there, but it was a great read from Valentine. That's the Valentine we were all expecting from the desk to say, look, we understand how to play from our fundamentals. This is what Valentine wanted. If we hit our fundamentals, if we hit our shot calling as we need to, they can win it. And now they're rewarded with 3 ultimates to kind of close this out and hold further time. There's only RhinoVod's sound barrier in the way, so they should be able to overwhelm it once it passes.
Say Nexus already with a sound barrier. They're trying to do something similar. Previously, it was the Kitsune into the Primal. Here, it's sound barrier into both Overclock and Pulse Bomb. The latter of the 2 is unsuccessful, but Melophobia still wins the fight onto their doppelganger. And it seems like a very good opening, but with Sugiura having to disengage, they end up being taken out by Mari, who finds 2 in the process. Say goodbye to RhinoVod in the same breath. And again, Nexus are forced to disengage. Regardless of some of the damage they're doing right now, they just don't have the positional advantage to play off of, regardless of that player equalization. And this long and drawn-out fight, again, goes Valentine's way.
They did get the cart through the bridge, through the underpass there, so it is a little bit harder. And now that Valentine's lost this kind of high ground, Nexus swooped in and took that. Now it's going to be a little bit harder, but they have nothing to push with. It's going to be dry for Nexus, which means Valentine should be able to, again, catch this Flux Rails combo and should be able to capitalize and get a hold right before the end here.
Be and will are 2 very different things. We've seen lack of execution in Overwatch before. That doesn't seem to be the case here. They may not even need that grab.
Yeah.
Dust goes down before popping it. Great Overclock, only finds 1, but that's usually the only one you have to find, especially in a fight like this, and Nexus just back away.
Yeah, the mice scurry off when you know that 1's down. That's the teamwork at this level. Like, you just know 1's down. Cool, let's just get out. Let's not waste time. We have 1:20. We have about a fight and a half left, so let's just regroup and get back to full here. Nexus only has this Kitsune Rush. They'll use it aggressively. We've seen them do it, so I'm really watching for Mari. If this is her hero moment, if she can catch them in this Kitsune Rush, she can put the book here.
This would be the big pivotal ultimate that could change the tide of at least this attack, if not the round in its entirety. Second phase is down to a minute on that time bank up above, and Mari goes down immediately. Annihilation alongside the Kitsune Rush is successful, and tenfold on top of that as Wicca goes down. Not much that the Tracer can do in a 1v3, make it actually a 1v4. A team kill comes through, Nexus will cap second, at least they should be able to do so. Mari will touch, but it'll be inconsequential. Immortality Field will only delay the inevitable, and 2 minutes are right back on that time bank.
I'm not sure if we wanted to really commit to that. I understand why we felt like we could make it, but it's a little bit risky. She's going to go back to the Sigma, and I think that's the right call. You've shown the most success on this Sigma, especially now that your support line ultimates are up. I think that's the right call. You need to get a good positioning here. You need to get onto this high ground, and get them into a choke point as quickly as you can, because Melophobia is holding onto the pulse bomb, and you're going to see it go onto one of those supports. Valentine's holding onto the ultimates. They should win in the longer fight.
Oh no, and with Sugiura already going down, Nexus already having to disengage again. They don't have forever on that time bank. They did out of the first point, despite the fact it took them an extra fight. A decent pulse bomb, but Dust mostly blocks the effect of it. And Melophobia is actually the one to go down. A follow-up from Mari, and the dominoes just continue to topple on the attacking side. Valentine's aggro play is going to near perfection in the third phase, and we're down to 60 seconds for the second time in this attacking phase.
Wicca's been a real key to this. She's been absolutely shutting down Melophobia. Melophobia is just going to give it up. We're going to the Widow here, and we're going to commit the sound barrier right away. We know we need to go.
And Melophobia exclusively has overheal, though. They're at about 1 HP. If they get hit by anything, it would be lethal, but Melophobia luckily gets some healing and will stay alive, at least short term. Dust low health as well. That Sniper's just not doing enough in this close range. They're not getting the space they need to work, and Valentine's taking full advantage of nearly touching spawn doors. 30 seconds, and Nexus are up against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much they can do here. Flux is going to catch anybody on the way out. It's just there's so much in the way of Nexus, and they spent so many ultimates to get out. I don't see a way. There might be a last-second touch, but again, they have to fight so hard and just commit ults just to get past Valentine.
They should be able to get a touch. The question is how consequential does it of being. Rhine finds one. Wicca will go down, but so too will Dust, and this overclock works out fairly successfully. Sugurero up in the air. A wounded duck will inevitably fall. This one much more lethal and less healthy. A touch will come through for Rhine, who actually does find a final blow in a Snozlar. So this fight does have some legs to it for the Nexus attack. Good accretion on towards the new Doomfist of Dust, but how long does that Doomfist stay alive, and how occupied is this point going to be over a longer period of time? Another overclock going to be popped.
Oh,
this
wow.
one, Sugurero, as they find 3. We're in a completely different outlook. Overtime is now a real possibility, and plausibility. They could cap this all the way, but it takes a few fights to do so.
It was just enough time for Sugurero to build that up and, again, get a little uncontested and get free to do that. We're going to bring in the Cassidy here. It's quicker, it's shorter range, it's hopefully a little bit more bursty versus the Sojourn. So last fight here, it's basically in the neutral. Melophobia is going to hit a pulse bomb, but the second that lands, this might decide it. Never mind, Sugurero ended it now.
Snozlar's already gone. We've still got a decent bit of time on this rotation of the fire truck. So Valentine understands Snozlar can come back into the fight, and with Melophobia going down, this is a completely different outlook. Snozlar's now back into the fight, and on the Genji, we've seen a swap and a fairly judicious one. There goes the amplification matrix. Good Suzu at least keeps Dust alive, but the swap on towards the Sombra instead. Snozlar makes a good adjustment, and Nexus end up with a pseudo C9. They cannot cap the entirety of Midtown, but they get an extra 70 meters they probably otherwise should not have gained. Valentine shows signs of life, and Nexus, despite their good early start, the second phase of that attack just did not have the legs it needed.
No, it was, but even in the first fight, those legs were a little wobbly themselves. They had it very clean, like you said. You know, easy 2 picks right off the bat. Should have been a free pick, but they couldn't quite close it out. And once Valentine again got their footing, Mari got set up on that high ground switch over to the Sigma, which they're looking very comfortable, very fantastic on. And Wicca moved over to that Brigitte. You could really see how much they were able to shut down these dives, the Tracer, all these different moving parts that were bothering them before. It was only when Sugurero really got left alone that, again, they were able to kind of buy themselves that gift of the extra 70 meters. So it's, you know, that's the adaptation we wanted to see, right? And now we're finally seeing some deaths on the side of Nexus. That's what we wanted to do. Particularly a few more across the board. 6 for Sugurero and 6 for Dust. And those are the 2 players I would argue you need to make sure that you get rid of, right? Those 2 in particular are the most important. I don't know what production's trying to show me here. I don't understand. Time, what am I staring at? Time, investigate, please. Okay, I guess they're gone now.
That's
fine.
There was just a miscrop on the back end. I don't think that was intentional.
That's fine.
At least I'm not sure.
Fine.
I don't know.
Look, I'm going to blame Hippy. It's fine. I'm just going to blame him for that. But I won't blame Hippy for the mirror, which I now see, because this makes sense. Nexus got bullied by this comp. They know they can't play the dive into it. They're putting all their hope into Sugurero and Melophobia here with this comp, and I agree. This is the right decision to make.
I mean, when Sugurero and Melophobia played like they did on Samoa, there's basically nothing else to do other than put confidence in them. However, there's still a decent bit of time left over in this time bank for Valentine to make some adjustments. We talked about it before, we will talk about it again. They've been a very malleable team against Red, inside of individual series, whatever they need to do to adjust and play well, they are able to pull off and in fairly short order. That is what separates good from great. It is how quickly you can make adjustments that end up fruitful. Mari ends up killing themselves, albeit it was via a hypersphere going off of the shield into themselves, so it's not really all that consequential. Probably would have died anyway to a hypersphere on the other side, but this close range fight, low HP for most. Valentine, they'll all go down, and almost a team kill, but still a minute off the time bank.
I respect Nexus's respect of the space in a lot of ways. They're letting them take the choke and just saying, look, okay, we have all your other angles. We have denied all the places you want to go. You have to fight us. You have to aggress into us. And it's still freeing Sugareru to kind of go in and keep the bullets firing. So ult's coming online. I mean, Wicca is leading in the rally. So this is going to have to come and find some aggression here.
Walk in. Decent bit of space off the back, but there's the grab, the pulse bomb beforehand. It is again just not a great start to a fight, but Valentine bring it back. Wait a second, this is a completely different outlook. Decent bit of damage, Dust goes down. Pulse bomb was invested, it didn't have to be, but now low HP from Melaphobia, who is forced to recall into the far side of the station. This becomes a different outlook. One tick already attained. Melaphobia trying to touch and deny a second, and Dust has made a swap. We see a Doomfist brought in, and now a positive outlook for Valentine. Yes, the touches come through. The cap denied, but everything is needed to be expended, including a swap of your main tank, or your only tank in this instance. Sugareru finds one though, and oh my goodness, the swap didn't mean all that much. They would have won it anyway. What a wipe.
The later ultimate there, the later rally paid off for them, especially considering Mari didn't get the chance to, commit the flux to it. But yeah, I mean, Nexus is fine with that though. They knew that was the play the whole time. And shout out to the passive healing for Melaphobia, who, again, was able to just sit there, kind of get healed up and get them back into full form. Minute 20 here means there's probably a fight, maybe more if this goes wrong, but I mean, now we're into a Doomfist comp, so this is not exactly the greatest spot for Nexus to be in. There's nothing to block Sugareru. If they collapse onto him, this could be just kind of over here.
They're very isolated on the DPS line as well for Nexus. Immortality Field already invested, and Dust will go down anyway. Overclock pop for Snozlar. There's the Pulse Bomb. It does find one in return, so it is a fairly even trade, but losing your Brig, arguably a little bit more impactful. Luckily, for the time being, Valentine still have their own Baptiste. There's a spray. Low HP again for Sugareru, who just cannot stay alive, and the cap came through anyway. 3 minutes on the time bank, much less than Nexus had, but still a cap of the first point regardless.
A good read from Valentine, too, to split Nexus like that and force Sugareru down the hallway where they couldn't really get the targeting off. So now we're back to the mirror where we all naturally belong here, and it will be Nexus who will... it looks like they didn't really get in time to take the high ground, so Valentine's going to contest that early, and they just have the tools to win that. There's nothing really in the way of this Flux or the Pulse Bomb, so if they maintain this high ground, they could win it, but Valentine will back off for now, which means that Nexus are now in the more prime position here.
Right now, Valentine seem comfortable to play on the low ground and just avoid most of what Nexus has to offer on the high ground. Good Amplification Matrix creates a decent bit of space and forces Nexus to condense a decent bit. Great grab to follow up on that. That is a perfect fight plan, and it works out to perfection as well. Amazing execution from Valentine. They popped the Amplification Matrix, force Nexus to all condense into about the same position, and with that newfound knowledge, they pop a grab, which is an area of effect ultimate that works off the back of the knowledge gained. They take out Dust, but they don't follow up on that. Sugareru disengages alive. Everybody else other than Dust lives, and Dust is back in the fight.
Yeah, so there wasn't enough time to get back, but there's going to be the rally from Nexus, and I mean, now following it up, it's going to be about even. It's going to come down to Ramses' Pulse Bomb, which gets denied. It does take Sugareru, but that's it.
It's a 1-for-1. Sugareru and Ramsu trade one another out. Wicca wins the fight against their doppelganger as well, and the Melaphobia Pulse only takes out an Immortality Field. They drop AJ after the fact. Wicca follows up on their first with a second. Dust, after coming back into the fight, they're about to have a grab, but they need to stay alive to use it if they're going to pop it in its entirety. There's 90 seconds in this time bank. Valentine have mostly equalized things compared to what we saw in the later stages of Nexus's attack as well, and with Wicca dying, we'll probably see it this time.
There should be a disengage. They'll give him one more fight. But I'm concerned, Time, because there is a Flux Rails here. And we've seen what happens when Sugareru gets any sort of sight line available to them. they carry the game. They just win the game. So this last fight from Valentine is going to have to be very, very safe. Snozlar is the only one with any sort of ultimate to contest this, and right now they are going to be playing from behind. They're going to have to use their teamwork, those skills that they built up playing and working towards those Calling All Hero Championships to really win them out here.
45 seconds, this becomes a problem, to understate the obvious, for Valentine. Amp and Overclock are going to be available either now or in this fight. Mari's well on the way to the grab, but that's about it. The final 30 seconds plus any OT that would be built up. There's the grab on the other side. Dust catches at least 2, but is ended up rocked out of it. Great play from Mari to keep them away, but the Overclock ends up being inconsequential. And with 25 seconds, that inconsequential Overclock could have been the difference maker.
Sugareru still has theirs too, so that means that once they get the space, Sugareru has just a shooting range ahead of them.
It's a great play from Dust, putting the shield in front of the Amp Matrix, at least avoiding some of the damage, but there's that railgun shot straight through it. Sugareru goes down, opening pick goes the way of Valentine, and now a new outlook on life for the Valentine attack. Nexus have to play defense and staunch at that. A touch comes through, denying the cap. No accretion as of right now, but there is a grab available. They'll lift Dust outside of retention, and they end up finding the kill afterwards. Sugareru only is able to take out an immortality field, and Valentine have a 90-meter difference between them and taking Midtown.
90 minutes and about a minute and a half, which means that there's probably, again, one more fight, you know, depending how aggressive Nexus plays. And Nexus has been very tame, all things considered, from what we'd seen in the first half. And a lot of it is due to Mari here coming online, 27-6, just really taking that presence and commanding from this tank position. And this is going to come down to it because there is a rally with Wicca. It's going to get used early, and this is going to be the difference maker. It's their only tool that sets them out. Rhine did swap over to Lucio and is building that sound barrier. It's a race against this sound barrier now, Time.
It's a race against time for the sound barrier as well. Melophobia goes down before it has a time to pop, and Dust is low HP, doesn't have its opportunity. Rhine will have to save it. There's no way you pop this in a 3v5 with the only person to go down, Wicca. There's now a real possibility that Valentine take this, and with Rhine going down, Wicca will have time to rejoin the fight before Rhine does the same.
This is going to be the last shot. The sound barrier is probably going to be used aggressively here to try to get the team onto the point here. So Ramsu and Wicca are going to be the DPS here to watch because they're going to have to find some sort of value to get around this sound barrier here.
Pulsebomb already, finds absolutely nothing. 1 meter left, there is a grab well in the way. It will have the time to force a C9 should it get popped in the correct direction and gain the correct traction on the powerful people. 5 seconds remaining on this time bank. Grab will mostly miss though, and it only catches the backline. Mari thrown up in the air and slammed down to the ground and even further into 6-foot grave. 1 meter still the difference between Valentine and Midtown. Snozlar with the overclock and Ramsu with that pulse bomb. That could be the difference maker, and the DPS line for Nexus will finally show signs that gods do bleed. That meter means nothing now as Valentine tie up the Open Grand Finals.
4-1 still looking pretty good though, so you know what? A 1-1 early. Headrammer wanted a bunch of games. It looks like we'll get them. And, you know, shout out to Dust, who's had a heck of a matchup coming against Amari, who has been playing phenomenally online here. And I think this is exactly... Mari, let's not watch this. I mean, it is the one... It's the consolation prize, right? And it comes from the tanks because we know these tank players have been so important. They basically decided the outcome of this. Sugareru and Melophobia were much quieter this time around. And that's mostly due to those changes that came in from Wicca and Mari playing these more stagnant characters. So I really love these changes. But unfortunately, these changes coming out past this, now that they've won, are probably going to go away because it will be Nexus's pick for the map coming up.
It is Flashpoint coming up, so I mean they're gonna pick Cervas anyway. I think both teams probably would. There's no way we see New Junk City. If we do, it's really because Nexus just loves Junkrat.
Look, Nexus is like I said. I after hearing and talking with the coach there, after talking with Coach Fox, like Nexus wouldn't shock me if they came out on that. But I mean, the other thing that doesn't shock me here is that just kind of what we're seeing here. That's 30 across 3 numbers for the side of Valentine, 35, 36, and 30 from the Tracer, Sojourn, and tank player Mari, respectively. You know, that is the team that is getting involved with every kill. I wanted them to come together, play those fundamentals, and work together to complete those kills, and that shows me that they're doing it. In addition to helping and making sure Mari can get out there with 20,000 damage, just absolutely running the lobby, I think that is like the difference maker here. Mari is keeping up, not only putting out damage, but also blocking, whereas Dust was just kind of constantly on the back foot. I mean, couldn't really handle that. Like 12 to 8 deaths, just constantly getting punished out.
The one thing I really wanted to focus on was the damage block. That is a 5,000 damage difference, plus the 1,300 damage done difference that favors Mari. So all in all, give or take a 6,500 damage swing in favor of Mari between blocked and damage done. That is a great way of showing how pivotal a tank play can be, both on the defensive and offensive side. Combine that with the fact that now the attack for Mari had their tank alive for longer, with 4 less deaths over the stretch of Midtown, and they were much more sustainable on that second phase, despite the fact their first phase was not nearly as good as it was on the other side for Nexus. And Valentine are very much in this series. They are showing signs of life, and they're showing signs of cohesion, which is usually where those signs of life are shut down. Cohesion is where they pick up.
Hey, Time. Hey, Time. Guess where we're going? Guess where we're going for Flashpoint time? We're going to New Junk City. We're going to New Junk City time.
I can't believe it.
I told you.
I was so confident. Oh, Cerebos is coming. Nobody plays New Junk City.
No, this team thrives in the chaos. They want to push them. They've stated that they feel so comfortable playing in pretty much anything, anywhere, and especially knowing that they win those kinds of, you know, more brawly fights. This makes total sense to me, because like you said, everybody wants to play Cerebasa. Why would we give you the luxury of a map you play and scrim and prefer to play on when we're just as comfortable running it down in Australia?
I'm gonna be real. I actually wanted them to play New Junk City.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Welcome, come to the dark side. It's good here. It's nice and shady here.
I love New Junk City, especially because it's just much more condensed than Cerebasa can seem, so this chaos really starts to thrive in close-range engagements. It's entertaining, let's put it that way. We'll see Mari hover the Rhine against Rhine Guy, ironically enough. Dust, are we really going to see... Okay,
no, we're going to see the Rhine Mirror. We might... I was thinking Mari might pick up the Junker Queen, but, I wouldn't actually be shocked, considering when you look at the armor changes that came through. Rhine did get substantially better in all of this, but it looks like Dust is going to favor in to the Maga instead, and Mari is going to pick up the Ramatra, which makes total sense to me. It'll be more of a divey pokey out of Nexus, and more of a, well, similar kind of a comp, but just with a different tank flavor here.
So, the Ram versus the Mauga, which is what we've seen before from the opposing tanks, it seems. A game of Ring Around the Rosie inside of the arena, and this competition much different than what you'd usually see inside of an arena of this caliber. Despite that, Nexus are still looking to try and cap first. Hanbei did not have their Swift Step, however, and they're the first one to fall. Low HP for Dust, everybody falls. It's a game of dominoes, and Valentine are fully ready for it. Nearly a team kill. Sugarera finds a consolation pick. That's about it. Oh, actually a second onto AJ, but they still lose the fight.
I like what we were trying to do for Dust. We're trying to make sure we can set up and pay and draw the attention so Sugarera can shoot. The problem is here in Arena, there's really not great sightlines for Sojourn. You kind of just have to make it work. So, you know, your consolation prize is the picks on the way out, but it's still in the neutral here. So it's going to come down to who can just find this opening pick.
Pick pivotal for Valentine in the previous fight. Here they give up point control in favor of environmental control. The problem is they took a lot of damage early. The other issue with playing on this attempted Suzu wielder is you don't have as much recoverability in early fight losses, and you can see exactly why. Mari's gone for that power block for the last 7 or 8 seconds, somehow lives through it, but they're still on low HP, and Ramsu dies in the same process. And still, Dust is playing Ring Around the Rosie with their abilities. Now we see the Kitsune, albeit a little late, and Nexus are just socially distancing themselves from it because they've still got control of the point.
Dust just continues to be drawing the attention and trying to set up for Sugarera, like you said. I mean, a great crush to catch AJMR out, but unfortunately, that'll be it. Dust just eventually just drawing the attention. The late sound barrier,
what? Not in a 1 versus 3, at least it shouldn't be. That'll be the point if they lose any more, and it probably will be at the end of things. We'll say a valiant effort. Probably a not-so-judicious decision to press Q there, but it was a thought.
It was one of the choices of all time. I would agree. I mean, speaking of that, now there's time to move to the next one. So Valentine should come into this fight with Annihilation, Rails, and a Pulse Bomb. Like, on paper, they just kind of have more firepower, but they have to aggress onto the rest of this Nexus team, and this Nexus team is very slippery, especially with the sound barrier up that they didn't have to use in that first fight. So they should be able to wear through the Annihilation, and it just becomes figuring out who can they isolate and who can they get a pick onto here if they're going to contest.
This is where it would be stellar to have that Kitsune rush that was used in a fight they weren't close enough to pop it off, and the sound barrier that was used in a fight that had already ended. The overclock used early here for Snozlar, and yet no one in their line of sight. It is a game of hide-and-go-seek for Nexus after playing a ring around the Rosie earlier. It's just a bunch of kids' games, and they're winning all of them.
Yeah, Nexus is just playing games. It's like I said, we came to New York City because they want to play games.
And it's working for them. Now completely redeeming themselves and trying to take them to point. Pulse Bomb, I think, hit thin air, and at least hit that, but that's about it. Mari fairly low off the back of an Annihilation point blank. They have the overclock targeting them. They will live for a few extra seconds. That should be about it. The dive into the back line. Dust is just going for everything, and it's working perfectly in their favor. Melophobia does fall in the process of this fight, and somehow Valentine's living much longer than they should otherwise. But Nexus, in the middle of all this, has still capped the point for the previous 20 seconds or so. There's not much Valentine has done about it.
No. The Maga dive was not on my bingo card for the Grand Finals, but I mean, it is kind of how they're doing it. They're allowing Dust to get in there, just charge, get the stun, and allowing, kind of similar to how Wrecking Ball gets played, just get the charge out and kind of play it together. 50% means there's still time for one last fight, and it's, again, it falls to the support line of Valentine here. Wicca and AJMR, they both need to come up huge. They have a defensive and they have an aggressive. Just don't overlap them. Let yourself kind of play into this.
There's that early Kitsune rush. See if it ends up working this time around, and it will. But Nexus just back away. Again, yeah, they give up the point, but it will probably only be for 15, maybe 20 seconds in a arena that they have already ended up mostly winning themselves. Sugareru, low HP, lives through that somehow. Sound barrier now forced out, and Valentine still have only picked up one pick. A trap in the middle of everything, and it seems like it's still working in favor of Nexus, as Dust is the one who pops it. Low HP for Mari, who will fall. It would have been the Pulse Bomb to close them out if nothing else did. And yeah, delaying the inevitable again, or Valentine, but it's only for about 30 seconds, and Nexus go up 2-0 on New Junk City.
I respect Mari trying to match and just deciding, look, I can't win that matchup, the Hank matchup, so I have to mirror. I think it was the right call, but that's just unfortunate. It seems like, again, Nexus just knows when AJMR is going to use Kitsune Rush and just immediately says, we are not playing the game, we're taking our ball and going home. And then when it's time for them to win, they say, okay, we're playing again. Going to the next one, now it's Nexus with that exact same combo ahead, plus Sugaruru's Rails, so this does not look good for Valentine. They are probably just going to get overwhelmed here.
Problem is, when you don't pick a map and it plays perfectly into your opponent's strengths, and it's a map that usually isn't played anyway, you have a problem. And many problems all don't spell into a very easily found solution. We've seen adjustments from Valentine thus far in this series. I don't think this is going to be one of those maps where those are found. Ryan Guy's the first one to pop their sound barrier because they still have it active, and Snozlar just gets evaporated. This fight's done. Nexus will cap it. I think the map is probably done as well, but that may be a little bit too early to call. A dominant team kill, however, makes me feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. We do have Blade with Ramsu coming, making a swap in that previous fight and going to the Genji prior to the engage. So there is Blade Cage, Cage Blade coming in. There's nothing to stop it. You know, Melophobia has a Pulse Bomb, but I expect this combination to maybe steal the win here.
They walk in, they will take a decent bit of control. Pulse Bomb does damage, and Dust ends up falling afterwards. Valentine have some space to work with off the back of it, and they just walk in and take everything back. I said this map may be over. I may have called things a little bit too early. Melophobia is just going to add a few more percentage points on top of things, and hey, Valentine capping with a decent bit of space.
And like you said, they took it pretty quickly and effectively, only having to commit the cage. So now if you're Valentine, you have Blade, you have both your support ultimates up, you're in a great spot. If you're tracking, you know Nexus doesn't have anything. So it's going to be a dry neutral push from them, and Valentine's just going to play aggressively. It's now just winning by not overcommitting, and they're 20, 30%. So it's just going to be not overcommitting into this win.
There's the Dragon Blade, a great boop out, however. Ryan Guy keeps everybody alive, and it's how easily can I use my blinks for Melophobia. They will keep themselves at a distance to near perfection, but they're still very much kicking.
Yeah, maybe one more fight, depending how Nexus gets back here. And now that we're cage pulse bomb area with a Kitsune rush coming in, Nexus could possibly overwhelm if they want to engage us. They just have to live past the sound barrier of Wicca, and they could win through this. But the problem is time. I don't know if there's gonna be a touch. There'll be pressure.
They should, and Melophobia is just backcapping, it seems, and nobody does anything about it.
Okay.
So, sound barrier done. All of this fighting is done while Nexus has control of the point, so Valentine will have to recapture it back the other way, and then play overtime on top of it. Pulse Bomb will miss. That probably could have been saved for a few extra seconds, because Dust is swapping onto the Doomfist, and this becomes a different conversation. Again, overtime whip will burn once more, and that is the most important aspect of this for Nexus, who again will regenerate things and keep themselves alive as long as they possibly can, especially in this point that could end the map itself. AJ low, Mari the same, and they don't have the cage, they'll go down in the same breath. Sugareru finds one with the overclock. They want a second on towards the Genji. They will only do damage, but the damage is followed up by everybody else in the team. It will be a team kill. It will be the map as well. New Junk City is picked by Nexus and swept by them as well. Bring out the brooms, at least for the map. Nexus go up 2-1.
You know, Coach Fox mentioned that this was going to be the last time we get to see this Nexus squad together like this. And this is a shame because they are playing incredibly well. You can tell they want to win this and close this out on such a high note. And, looking at Dust's performance over the current, last couple maps, this is a change of pace. Putting them onto the Maga has really shown that they really do prefer to brawl. They want to get in your face and they want to capitalize on it. So, we joked about it, but it was the correct pick. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to come to a place where they felt confident to brawl, and they brawled, got in faces, and they showed no love to Valentine.
It's also a map where it's much easier to kite and just disengage quickly if you have to. There's a lot more environment to play off of, and especially if you're cognizant of what you have to do in a given engagement, you're much easier, or it's much easier to do so off the back of said information. So, while Valentine did make the adjustments they needed, and yes, looked very good on the later stages of that map, that it just was not the map they were going to win. Outstanding late round adjustments from Nexus. You can see the damage itself. I won't mansplain it to you. 1100 for Dust is the one I want you to look at. So too is the eliminations for Dust. 3 higher than anybody else in the lobby and 4 higher than anybody else in his team.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to look at Dust as the real, again, leader. But that's what we expected, right? We expected these tanks to be really leading the way in regards to who was winning, who was setting the pace of this, and who was kind of leading the way. But I think the other thing worth noting there is, looking at the difference of Sugareru versus Snazlar. Sugareru, again, 9,000 versus 7, still able to kind of put in a little bit more damage, get a little bit under control, and again, get better set up by Dust. Dust pulled all the attention onto him, allowing Sugareru to come in and just capitalize while everybody was chasing the big man.
So Nexus are at least keeping things up in their front, and to be expected, I'll say mostly as expected on the desk, as expected on our side. 4-2, 4-1, still very much reasonable. But this is not a series where Valentine are out. By no means are they gone from contention. They show signs of life back on Samoa. They take Midtown with a great late round resurgence and amazing later stage defense in the second point. And now, well, yes, they get swept on New Junk City. It is an A, uncommon map. B, plays to their opponent's strengths. And C, sometimes it's just not your map. There's still a lot of adjusting time remaining, should it be required for Valentine. We'll see if that is the case. When we come back from our break, we'll head to push.
Memories. Memories. Memories.
Signs of life, signs of a victory hopefully on the horizon for Valentine. They do lose a second map. New Junk City is swept in the favor of Nexus, and they go up 2-1 in the series. I'm time to light that right there. So Avdanam and Soav here in our PC Open Grand Finals. It is Nexus in the driver's seat, but by no means are they strapped in fully.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team of CGL veterans. They know exactly what they're looking for and how to drive the car, the metaphorical car, as it were. But, you know, like you said, Valentine looked pretty good on Midtown. It felt like once they could get control of the pace of the game and really kind of slow it down and force the dives to come to them, they really got control. And I think they might be trying to do a similar thing here with this next map pick going into push, which is going to be New Queen Street.
I gotta say, I love New Queen Street. Thus far, our map pool has been amazing. Samoa and not Lijiang, Midtown and not Kings Row, New Junk City and not Suravasa, New Queen Street and not Coliseo, mostly. I'm okay with most of them other than Coliseo. And hey, I am very happy with where we're at in this first of 4. It is Nexus, as mentioned, in the driver's seat. They need to win this and Escort to win the series. If either of those go Valentine's way, I believe we play Control again.
Correct.
And then it goes to both Hybrid and Escort. Right?
Yep, then we go back around. Yep, then we go back around in the circle. The previous maps we used are out. But, you know, once you start, you know, if we make it into that later part of this, it does make it more interesting because, like you said, Nexus has been picking maps that maybe you don't scrim. Meanwhile, Valentine's been playing, you know, what they feel the most comfortable with, what they're done. Like, remember, Valentine's a team that has played in Calling All Heroes. They're kind of looking for this as their next stepping stone into the Calling All Heroes weekend. You know, this coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this would be a great capstone for them to really kind of bring this back, but it's been struggles across the board. They're trying to find the footing here. Nexus showing us a little bit of different things. I'm going to keep the Maga here because I think that's probably the only realistic thing they're bringing out of this. The rest of that makes total sense, but Valentine, you know what, they're going to stay to what they are. They are going to bring out the Junker Queen, and this was the other one that Mari had said she wanted to play, that she felt comfortable on. So I think that this, again, gives them a little bit of a safe space, but I'm going to be very curious to how she plays into this Dust, into this Dust Maga, especially with Suguru over on the Pharah now.
I've seen some crazy decisions. Pharah is certainly up there, without a Mercy as well. Now, granted, it doesn't have all that much of a counter. AJ is not going to go sniping with kunai knives, nor is Ramsu with those stars. However, they may do so from distance on the Hanbei. It's a very awkward decision for Nexus, and it seems like it could pay off, at least early on. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a swap from Valentine on the horizon, but they might not need it. Dust goes down without much support, I might add. And Suguru, they find Snozlar, but how much on top of that? The bot starts to move in the direction of Valentine, or I suppose in the direction of Nexus in favor of Valentine, and that opening kill seems to be all that much more important.
It's interesting because this change makes Nexus playing more of a poke comp as opposed to the kind of pseudo dive that they were playing with Maga, and it'll be very interesting to see how you said, like you said, this is a little atypical, but you know, Pharah doesn't need the Mercy Pocket as dedicated right now, and especially with Melophobia, meanwhile, is able to just get to and turn back the fight like this. It works into Nexus's playbook of just creating chaos and forcing you to have to try to win through it. Mari's going to give it up and go to the Maga herself, and here we are again with the exception of, you know, the Pharah in the sky. Again, still no real counter to it. I don't know how long we're going to go without a just solid hit scan option versus Nexus.
Somebody swap to Soldier.
So, Cassidy? Yeah, no, Cassidy.
Just for some content. Yeah, they'd probably say Cassidy. Kitsune in the back line. There's the Pulse Bomb. It mostly misses, so a good disengage from Valentine. But Nexus creates so much space off the back of just a single ultimate. They don't have to do all that much over top. They don't have to dedicate all that many cooldowns, at least not long and drawn out ones. And now the Kitsune back the other direction. This should force them away, and it does indeed. That's a decent start. Mari switching on towards the opposing Mauga could be that counter to Suguru should they obviously hit their shots.
Yeah, it's still a little bit of a tough take, but it does work. Suguru has this barrage, but has to try to find an angle, sends it away, but gets picked out. And wow. Yeah, I mean, what did you expect, though? What did you expect besides the Genji deflect in your face?
Deflected the barrage, and a lethal one at that. Suguru goes down, Melophobia probably soon to follow, and Dust will go into the back line, only to, we'll say, delay what was the inevitable. Valentine retake control, and Nexus, we'll say it was very drawn out, but it worked mostly in their favor.
Yeah, they want the drawn-out fight, and they also want to try to keep Valentine on their toes with these unique picks. But now coming into this, Dust has Cage, so I don't know that this really does anything for him. Rhine is holding on to Sound Barrier, though, so it's going to have to get used versus this Blade, which means Nexus, in theory, might be able to kind of section off and really get somebody in and get somebody for a win here.
Dust already with the one.
Oh.
Follow up onto Snozlar for Melophobia, and that should just about be the fight. We have not seen all that much sustainability from many teams thus far today after an opening pick goes against them, especially when that opening pick is either on the backline or their tank, bar maybe that opening fight on Midtown back when we started off the map,
Yeah.
but even then it wasn't a support line with the tank.
Yeah, well, what do you expect? This is like PC Open. This is that point where those first bloods tend to be indicators of everything. And thankfully for Valentine, that first blood was on Ramsu, who managed to hold Blade. So now you have Cage Blade up, and that should be a win con in itself. You just need to make sure you catch at least 1 or 2, and you get past Rhine Guy's Sound Barrier. Otherwise, it's gonna just they're gonna find a 2-for-1 value on you.
Dragon Blade again popped here. Ramsu just trying to go for the back line, but will be sniped
Oh,
out.
wow.
Look at all those assists. Everybody knew
Full
who
team.
the target to prioritize was. Pulse Bomb does miss, so there is at least a saving grace for Valentine, but Mari is so low, and they're basically dead already, bar a Sound Barrier being dedicated here by Wicca. And that backline pressure now for Mari is going to be all that much more difficult to deal with. Almost going to find that cap on towards the checkpoint as well, and Mari is forced back even further. Cage fight not available here for Mari. It's been expended to no avail. Dust traps everybody in close quarters, and they pick up that capture at the checkpoint as well. Yeah, they don't win the fight on top of it, but hey, the cap is most of them.
Yeah, they wanted to clear that. That's going to be the longest point. They got the butt scratch, and that's the most important thing. They wanted to push through it. It was worth the investment for the most part. 5 minutes still on the clock. Nexus is now playing totally dry, and Snozlar's holding on to the only ult in the room. So, again, let's get some angling. Let's get a position for Snozlar to really kind of capitalize, and this is probably one of the better spots to do so. Just let her sit on the high ground and just kind of fire in and just let Nexus get punished by their aggression here.
So Valentine playing from a distance. Snozlar, as you mentioned, the only ultimate. It is the overclock, and it's trying to backline, at least it was that Lucio. Decides a little bit better of it, but mostly the overclock misses. Decent damage on the Dust, but nothing to write home about. And now Valentine with some space to work with, trying to pick up a butt scratch of their own. If they can do so in this fight, it would be stellar. Sound Barrier close for Wicca. Snozlar to literally 1 HP, and they end up power sliding over towards the health pack. They have some divine intervention from up above on that one, and they've got some help to drop down to Sugareru. Nice damage from Rhine Guy from distance, and Snozlar is finally taken down. Sugareru follows up with a second on the Ramsu, and hey, Nexus are back? Question mark?
We're back, boys. I guess we're still holding this and taking this. I mean, anything they get, any extra picks, this just gets rid of time. It buys time for Sugareru to get a hit like that, and it takes away a key ultimate, so they'll get control. This is all in their favor, right? They have the lead, so the longer they can keep this at mid and keep fights on their side, it's just strictly better for them. I mean, it's going to be a set of dueling Kitsunes coming up, but there is Blade for Valentine and Rails for Nexus, so it's up to the DPS to make the difference here.
This could be the difference maker in terms of the fight that changes things, especially getting all that much further past the checkpoint for this Nexus side. Sound Barrier overheal has already been lost by Dust, who ends up locking themselves in to close quarters and dies off the back of it. Melophobia, same case, as the Dragon Blade finds 1, make it 2 with help from the dash, and a stellar return to form for Valentine. A single fight gives them a checkpoint of their own.
That's a great turnaround. 3 minutes still to play here, and just try to get it back. But, I mean, again, Nexus spent everything to try to get that a little bit further across the line. Now they're coming up against the neutral and Valentine, who has a Sound Barrier, and they'll have Rails from Snozlar coming up. So it's just kind of by the time you can get here, that's the best thing you can do. Valentine should be able to win this out. Hopefully, if they can do it, the best case would be not committing Sound Barrier to this.
There's final fight territory, then there's quite the opposite. That would be this situation where Valentine could basically draw things even and possibly give themselves the advantage should they win this fight. Dust on low HP somehow escapes with their life after the dash away, goes their direction, and the 1v1 between Sugareru and Snozlar is actually finished off by Mari. And at the end of the day, it's an extra 4 or 5 meters for Valentine, but not the actual checkpoint itself. Now they start to cap it all the way, and they do gain it. However, because Nexus capped the checkpoint first, they still retain the lead. It is not whoever does things second. It is still Nexus with the advantage. We play motorsport rules here in Overwatch, and then Valentine are given space. Why would they give that over?
I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, Valentine's going to disengage again. You have the lead. It's 2 minutes on the clock. Nexus has, again, we're back to Kitsune rushes, so we're basically in the neutral here. It's going to come down to that opening first blood as it has in multiple past fights here.
Especially if that first blood is on the back line of either squad. Mari low already. Kitsune Rush has to be forced out. And Nexus does the exact same thing they did for the majority of New Junk City, where they just patiently wait, disengage, and play for a different duel. In this duel, they're playing for their Kitsune Rush of their own, and it seems to be working, but by no means have they picked up all that much of an advantage. And as I say that, Snozlar goes down, a follow-up onto Wicca. That could be the difference maker on this map. 1 minute and 20 seconds, and that alone should be the lead for Nexus.
Should be. And if not, it'll be an expensive cost to get the lead because it's going to cost them probably Cage, Sound Barrier, and the blade that Nexus has built over Meliphobia. Picked up the Genji a little while back, built that blade pretty quickly here. And Sugaru 9-2 has been, again, kept pretty quiet. That's been Valentine's keys to success. One of their keys to success here is keeping Sugaru as quiet as can be. There's a Sound Barrier coming for Wicca, but it's going to have to come quicker.
Dragon Blades on both sides, Sound Barrier here for Nexus, and it ends up almost fully going their way. Ramsu pops the Dragon Blade of their own to no effect whatsoever. Some inconsequential damage is all they'll escape with before falling in their own right. And 40 seconds now, Valentine's time on this map of Toronto, New Queen Street, is quickly dwindling.
Wicca was just a hair late getting that Sound Barrier, so she'll have it for this one, which means she can put the foot down here and maybe get control back, but we're going to tick into overtime, and it's going to be a long stretch back, so the longer fight here, Valentine needs to win it and start winning more fights and chaining together.
That's a good start. Dust already going down. That is a stellar opening. But by no means is it the difference maker individually. Meliphobia going down could change things for the better, but Sugaru with a kill of their own, it will only be an individual pick. Forward spawns are in effect for Nexus, so we will see a much quicker follow-up fight, but it's still 3+ fights required for Valentine to win this.
Yeah, there's a long, long way for this bot to jog, and there are some ults coming up for the side of Nexus. Thankfully, Wicca still has Sound Barrier, and there's 4 ultimates coming for Valentine, so they have the treasure trove of ultimates. Should be able to get them through this. They need to make sure they get Reinguy and Hanbei out first, though, with these picks. They are coming into ultimates, and they should be able to put a stop to this. They just can't afford something like that.
There's the Kitsune Rush early, Cage on both sides, everybody locked into close engagements, and there's the Sound Barrier. Perfect timing. Reinguy, watch their HP. They should be able to build up the Sound Barrier before they go down, but it comes down to the timing. And this timing with Sugaru already going down, will it be worth it? They have the Sound Barrier active, but they don't have the support to use off the back of it, so they decide to hold on. And judiciously so, they will play for a final fight where Nexus has the advantage to close it, but Valentine can certainly take back the lead.
Ramsu plays these blades early, and she can close this out if she can get Reinguy before he casts that barrier. Again, it's going to come down to what can this DPS line for Valentine's do. There is bull support ultimates against them, so it's really going to come down to the defense line, these DPS lines here.
14-meter difference. Wicca already going down, though. This Dragon Blade didn't even have time to go off immediately, and a Sound Barrier beforehand. Make sure the overclock finds 4. It is an ace for Nexus, and a map victory to boot. An individual usually doesn't have all that much control in a full 5v5 hero shooter, and then there's Sugaru on Sojourn. An ace with the overclock, and a very well-deserved play of the game. If it isn't that, it is highway robbery.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a full ace. Overclock over top of a Sound Barrier. You're basically immortal at this point, especially with a Dragon Blade just now being popped. Outstanding from Sugaru and from Nexus in their entirety.
I mean, but what do you expect? What caliber do you expect from the team like Nexus? All of them have played to the OWCS top 16, and a lot of them in the top 8. A lot of them were former, Hanbei was a former Contenders player. This team has such a talent behind it that, it's still impressive to see the ace, but it's almost, I would have been disappointed if we didn't get it. That's a highlight reel for Sugaru. Get this man's on a team like ASAP. That's a Sojourn player that can make a difference on a team. And like you had said, it was a bit of a lost fight. It was one last fight, but Sound Barrier didn't even make the difference there. And I mean, Sugareru 13k, almost keeping up with Dust at 15. I mean, Sugareru did exactly as much as Mari did. No one else was close. And I mean, I think the damage output really makes the difference in the story here, right? Like, you can look at the defensive and the healing numbers, 25 for Valentine versus, maybe 20. But the more damage, you don't have to heal if your opponents are just dead and not damaging you.
That's a good point. Who needs to heal when there's nothing to do damage and force out healing? We can take a little bit more of an in-depth look at some of the individuals. Snozlar versus Sugareru. I think this really tells the story. Similar to the tanks back on Midtown, this is a stark difference. Deaths, it's 66% of, Snozlar's total. Accuracy's the same, but final blows are nearly doubled. Damage is an extra 1,700, and eliminations are also almost 150% that of Snozlar's.
Yeah.
Sugareru, as an individual, that is what you want to see from your surgery.
We were highlighting the tank lines this whole way through, but Sugareru from map 1 to now has just been a quiet performer. The DPS line was nothing to scoff at, and we were all watching for Mello on the Tracer to really be the standout player, but Sugareru has absolutely stepped up and pulled their weight coming into this, and now on match point. Hey, Rammer dunked on the 4-1s, but I think they might have been onto something. You might have been onto something, Time and Sam. I mean, it's looking like they might close this out here.
I've got some caveats, though. That is a map that Nexus selected. All right, that's a map that Valentine selected.
That's a Valentine.
So
yes.
that is something that does throw a little bit of a wrench in the works. What we'd expect from there, if of course Valentine did not select it, is this map to then go Nexus's way, or Valentine's way, and them to pick up a second. I don't know if that's going to be a guarantee, but certainly still some time remaining for Valentine to rejuvenate themselves. It's still loser's pick, and the losers have selected. We'll see what Valentine have chosen. Junkertown is our escort map. I don't know how I feel about this.
Nope. Time, I'll break it right down. Remember Midtown? Let's jump back a couple maps. Let's go to Midtown. Mari played Sigma. It was phenomenal. That was the best they looked the entire night. They won it. We are doing that again, except we're doing it in Australia, so just take it all and turn it upside down and hang from the ceiling, because now we're just in Australia. So I see this makes total sense. The only concern I have is that the way Sugareru has been shooting, it may be tough to contest those wide angles.
Especially if you see like a Widow off the bat. Remember Nexus last time we saw them, they chose the attack. Spoiler alert, they've done so again. I would not be surprised if we see a Widow pop off immediately. See if you can find an opening or two. And I will say Sugareru is pretty good on the sticks, to understate the obvious. Even better with a mouse and keyboard in hand. And now, on a long angle map like Junkertown, where a Widow opening duel could basically be the difference maker in a first phase, I am very concerned for the defensive outlooks of Valentine.
I'd be curious, because with what things we had seen, we had seen Mello, pick up the Widow immediately, originally. Maybe to say that Tracer still does have a lot of ins and outs to these kinds of side rooms, ways to navigate. But I really do think that, like you said, it might force Mello onto the Widow, and we haven't really seen them play that much. That might not be as strong as a pick. So I'm really checking now, because Valentine, it has to just be, all right, look, we're going back to our bunker. We're going Sigma. We're going Brigitte. We're going to take the Baptiste, and we are just going to do what won us Midtown. Is the only thing I can see that would make them make it make sense. That's the only way that makes sense to me.
The problem with Junkertown is you don't have as much realistic environmental space to play around when you want to try and disengage. On Midtown, you have so many rooms, so many different staircases. There's the center fire truck. Here on Junkertown, you've got, I don't know, maybe the first couple buildings on first phase. You've got a little bit of high ground second phase. Third phase, there's a little bit more, but really nothing to write home about. I'm concerned. That's where Valentine shined. It is taking advantage of the real estate around you. And here, I don't know if that'll be the difference.
Yeah, I would, again, I'd like to believe it is, because that is what got them Midtown. Is they didn't necessarily disengage, but they really punished Nexus for diving into them. And looking at the defense, this is exactly what I expected out of Valentine. This is what got them there, except it will be Snoz, it'll be the Tracer with a Sojourn. Moving over to, but with Nexus, this is going to be the question mark. It's, Sugareru is going to pick up the Widow, and the question is are those hands still hot? And how does this dive play out? Because it is going to be very difficult to dive into this, especially when you know it's coming head on at you like that rock.
There's the Sugaru Widow. It takes 2 shots and swaps. So, an early swap, but honestly something that was kind of to be expected. Is either you hit your shot, you find a kill, and then you swap, or you don't hit your shot, you don't find a kill, and you swap anyway. It was bound to happen eventually. Here it is just to create a little bit of space, force some concern out of Valentine, and give over some real estate to Nexus.
I mean, I love Dust Winston here. It did take most of that space right away. It did force Mari to give up a lot of the space. This is usually where a lot of teams get held up trying to play underneath it, but it forced so much of the team away from this Sigma, so a great just bit of space taking from the side of Nexus.
Let's work it even further. There goes the Immortality Field, and there is the follow-up. Hanbei is down. That seems to be the only casualty of war thus far for Nexus. Great play from Mari, rocking down Sugareru. The problem is their support line is gone, non-existent as a matter of fact. And yeah, again, they found a consolation pick, but it's only really delaying and forcing out a few more seconds in Nexus. Ramsu tried to delay as well. They were obviously unsuccessful.
Nexus just carved that right up, and that's what they've done in the past, those kinds of split moment executions. We saw it on Midtown, and they're doing it again here. And again, now they'll take the space, and they'll be able to push up versus this. So Valentine's going to have to contest, but it's probably going to be Ramsu, because there's not really anybody who's going to make it quickly there.
So a re-engagement, at least not giving over first phase. The problem is they're still dedicating so much to it. Wow, the Immortality Field means nothing when you're primaled outside of its radius. A second picked up in the process, and everybody else is going to fall shortly after. Nexus are showing why they made it cleanly through the upper bracket, and this is exactly what.
Yeah, this is about the rematch we expected, right? We expected this to be a pretty back and forth game, and we've gotten that, but that's, you know, what, 2-3 fights in a row that Nexus has just taken. You know, there hasn't been many deaths. If you know, I think they only might have had 1 Hanbei death so far, and they spent every ult into it, but now it should be time for Valentine. They built up enough they should be able to stall here. They have Rally, they have a Flux, there's a Pulse Bomb. We've given up Snozzler to the Cassidy. And they should be able to just build past this sound barrier and hopefully get a stop here in the street defense.
I've attempted, but the Dragon Blade early for Sugareru, it finds 1. They try to go for the grab on the opposite side, but it doesn't find all that much, and now Mari's in the backline, in the middle of everybody. A shield only protects for maybe 1, if not 2 directions, and now it won't save you forever. They will inevitably fall. There is, again, some delaying, but it doesn't mean all that much. Nexus are just walking all over Valentine, and they don't have anything to say about it.
Remember when you said we would be concerned if that was Valentine's pick? I mean, this is Valentine's pick. Mari's just gonna flop over to the Hog now. Yeah, we are just full. Yeah, we're gonna bring in the full anti-dive. We're gonna go to the Maga here. Wow, we just denied that. Wow.
That's disaster. If disaster hadn't already struck, that is it personified. Doppelganger duel goes the way of Nexus. They win it, and what would have been a touch for Valentine is denied. Dust also dies. So, I mean, at least something's recovered, but, I mean, how consequential does that end up being?
Yeah. I mean, that was... who cares? You have your spawn right there, and you have 4.5 minutes on the clock. Like, you're not worried. You still have Rangai's sound barrier for Nexus. You don't really have much to pair with it to go forward, but you have an answer. It's, again, Valentine still just have a few more ultimates. They should be able to overwhelm once they get past the sound barrier.
Pulse Bomb takes out the Immortality Field, and then Sugareru takes out the Immortality Field wielder. Snozzler goes down as well. It is, again, just everybody following in quick succession. Ramsu delays and denies. Oh, it would have been denying the team kill, but about 1/10 of a second the difference. Either way, it's Nexus winning another one. They've still got 3 minutes, nearly 4 minutes on the time gig, and they're making the turn. This is scary.
Nexus trying to make sure we all get to bed by midnight at this rate. They're not dropping a fight. They're trying to make sure we are done. They're making the point here. And again, I mean, it's Sugareru's blade with a Kitsune rush. There's nothing in the way of it. I'm concerned.
There's the blade. It does go into the backline. It ends up working. Great Suzu allows Sugareru to play a little bit more aggro. It ends up costing them a decent bit of their health pool, but they still end up finding a kill with help from Melophobia. And that should be a follow-up and lethal one at that. AJMR, a clean kill on towards Sugareru, and everybody on the support line falls shortly thereafter. Great return to form for Valentine. They will keep themselves alive and at least stave off Nexus for the time being.
it's still a lot of time to go there, time, because it's 3 minutes. That was one fight. There's at least several more to go, and Sugaru now going back over to the Sojourn. Yeah, look, we're so successful. Why are we not just going to win the long-range duel? I agree. I mean, Melophobia has a bomb. So does Ramsu. It's kind of up in the air. It's really up to Mari at this point, who has the cage difference and nothing to stop it. So finding that isolation and capitalizing on it with the pulse bomb is probably the best shot to keep this cart from rolling any further.
So Dust avoids the Pulse Bomb in the high ground, and they can just drop with this. Pulse Bomb available on the opposite side, it misses, and AJMR doesn't even have to force out their Mortality Field in that same process, and here comes a Sound Barrier to couple. Cage is perfectly placed, finds two separate low HP players. Ryan Guy and Melophobia, the squishies, are very much squashed, and Nexus are just forced again to disengage. That is 2 minutes off the time bank that they would have had otherwise, and they've maybe gained 10, 15 meters off the back of it. And they pop Cage in a losing fight. That is a decision.
Yeah, I got nothing for that one. That was just one of the decisions Dust made. Maybe we're getting rid of it anyways. Looks like not, but yeah, that was... I'm not really sure. They do maintain the all-important central high ground that's rotating, and Sugaru's just going to try to buy the space while we get the cart rolling back, and it is. I mean, Snozzler has the only thing up. They have High Noon, but there is rails and a sound barrier in the way, so it's probably getting denied here.
Deni finds nothing, not even damage to speak of. Valentine at least creates space with it, but there's only a few meters between them and losing things. Sound barrier into the backline. They want to try and get in front of that amplification matrix, and it ends up working, completely hounding the backline of Valentine. Means they have no space to play off of. A team kill to close it. Nexus with a minute and change on the time bank. Complete Junkertown. They've won New Junk City. They look to complete the Junk duo and send Valentine to the rubbish.
Yeah, much like a game of Risk, it comes down to who conquers Australia here, and in this case, it comes down to who swaps to Maga first, because Maga has been kind of the difference maker, and it does tend to play better for Nexus's style. You saw how aggressively and fearlessly they just ran past AJMR's amp majors. They just straight up did not care, just said, we are coming in, this is our space, we live here now, and you are going to deal with this. And that's how Nexus plays these maps. They get aggressive, they get in your face, whether it's a dive, whether it's a brawl, and they just punish you for trying to stand in their way. I really do love Valentine's attempt to try to play this anti-dive, but it just never really got fully set up into a position where it could hold their ground. Everybody kind of got separated or kind of got pushed aside, and unfortunately just never really could make the difference.
Here are the stats. 7,000. That is insanity. Nearly 7,000 healing for AJMR and 7,000 damage for Dust. They're basically canceling one another out. But the mitigation is really what I want to see. Unfortunately, mitigation is not on this stat sheet.
No, it's not.
I'm going to work with our production team on that one.
It is going to be the Hog just to try to get this out, and I don't blame Mari, just maybe try to get an opening pick, yeah. And again, this is where I think they do the best, but Nexus is popping over to their own version of it. So now we're finally going to get that Whittle duel you wanted.
Yeah. Both players hit each other in the chest, so it didn't really mean all that much. Snozzler will take a little bit more damage afterwards, but gets healed regardless. We see the Brig mirror. It is a mirror across the board, bar a Tracer versus a Genji. Great jump from Snozzler, though. They will find their doppelganger, and a swap is almost certainly in the near future of Sugaru. Great opening pick, and they can follow up on that because they don't have to worry about being sniped themselves.
They do have this all-important wider angle now for the Widow to shoot from, so this works so much in Valentine's favor. And again, this is what I wanted to see. Now we're playing more of a pokey, stable comp, and this is where they shine. So there will be one more contest, but I'm watching, again, I'm watching now these flankers, the Tracer, the Genji, to try to get a pick and open this up.
Not be surprised if they try and go for a high ground. That's exactly what happens. A game of try and avoid the tagger, as Ramsu tries to go for it and is unsuccessful. Just expends a couple of cooldowns while delaying what is a very high ground for the central approach, and he goes for a different angle, and it ends up working. Great play from Ramsu. She'll find the damage and the kill. Sugaru goes down for the second time in nearly as many fights, and it's just cleaning house for Valentine. First phase goes much better for them.
Yeah, because they're playing the game they want to be playing. They're playing the comps they really want to be working, and they found the most success in. This is where they, again, this is why they went here. So it makes total sense to me. And now we're kind of seeing the opposite of, you know, that first push where there's this very aggressive Nexus, you know, comp in their face. Now they're playing back. So Snozlar going to give up the Widow and Melophobia as well. Gave it up to go to Tracer. So Guerrero going to match the Genji as well. We're just in the mirror here. This is the right play. We need to control the high ground. We need to make sure we can get out there. But Nexus has 4 ultimates up. So it's going to come down to who wins their respective duels at this point.
It is some of the individual 1v1s that have decided a few fates lately. Pulse Bomb lobbed from distance. Melophobia, I don't think will be trying out for quarterback anytime soon. That underhand was, we'll say, unsuccessful to understate the obvious. Dragon Blade early for Ramsu. It does find a decent bit of damage, but it doesn't actually find a kill, and they get rocked down. A great accretion into an even better grab that finds 2 kills in the process. Dust is soloing Valentine and working overtime to do it.
Don't give him too much credit. He had the support line back him up, so it was a costly fight for him. So it'll be what it is. Snozlar going to go over to the Cassidy. Decided I'm not winning the Tracer duel, so I'm going to just shut it down this way. Mari is up with Flux. It's the only thing on the board, and it should be good for at least a pick, hopefully, if nothing else. They just have to get past the Immortality Field in the way first.
Has played a decent factor of this one. Grab on the opposite direction, but there's the Immortality Field. It keeps Dust alive temporarily, but it will not keep them alive forever. It seems like the Genji would have been soon to follow, and actually is after a whip shot from RhinoVod. Nexus is keeping themselves very much in things. Somehow Wicca doesn't take lethal damage from the Pulse Bomb thrown on their shield, and 3 minutes of the timing. Valentine are making some strides.
It's slow but steady progress, and that's the name of this pace. Melophobia now going to give it up and just take the Cassidy as well. RhinoVod coming into the rally with Sugaru's Blade. I mean, that's a combination, but it does help when Hanbei just decides to win the fight first.
Sugaru also faked the fact they were going to pop the Dragon Blade and force Mari to hold on to their accretion as Dust closed the distance. A little bit of mind games on this one. Sugaru, watch, they're going to do it again. They'll end up dashing over top of everybody. I'll say give it a second. And then they're going to pop that Dragon Blade.
I think it's going to come with the rally, though, because you really want the armor for the Genji to get in there, and you want to try to go to make sure they can complete 1 kill, hopefully onto either of those supports. They have to know that there are ultimates online for the Valentine supports, so really getting in and making sure the Genji gets protected is going to be the key to finding it with these 4 ults.
So grab again. It finds 2 in the back line. Deadeye will be popped, but doesn't find anything again. Snozlar just uses it as a sectioning ultimate, and Ramsu dies. Sugaru again, a stellar dash. This one from the opposite Genji. Amplification Matrix pop in the middle of everything on both sides now, I might add. But this one looks much better for Nexus as they are playing it much more spaciously. Sugaru just ends up dodging by not moving. Sometimes your opponent is a dinosaur.
There's a Zen quote or something that's like, doing nothing is sometimes the more advantageous thing, and if there's not, it should be. But I mean, a minute 30 means we're coming into last fight, and now it is Ramsu who has the only blade. There's nothing in the way of it, so it's just getting past Immortality Field and setting her up for success here. If she can maybe even combo it with the Flux from Mari, it's definitely a win, and we'll keep this rolling. But this fight needs to be won by Valentine, otherwise we may just be in game over.
Blade over top, but nobody's close enough. The only one is the Sigma, and Dust is taking a decent bit of damage. The Immortality Field will keep them alive, so too will the healing from both of the support heroes. Melophobia pops that Deadeye again just to play for the space, and Mari goes for the grab, but ends up taking more damage than they deal. Sugaru finally goes down, but it's still all this space on the high ground occupied by Nexus, and it's happy for them to play it.
I mean, and the cart's been just sitting there the whole way through. That you would have loved to see it move a little bit with progress and finally getting around that corner. But it's 30 seconds, and we're in the middle of a messy fight. Valentine just spent their Immort, which means that Nexus might smell the blood in the water.
Amplification Matrix used as well, but from a distance, they don't have as many heroes to play behind it. Ramsu will go down. Melophobia takes care of them. We've reached final fight territory, and Mari's being staggered. This could not be worse.
No, it's the last seconds. There's going to be maybe a last second touch from Snozlar, but we've seen Nexus put the foot down before. Yeah, they're going to play early to try to deny the touch, and with that, there's nothing. Nexus close it out with that aggressive play. Just as they started this match, they win it by playing aggressively.
Yeah, and you gotta say, Snozlar could not have played that any better. They had to hold on to the blinks to actually get to the point and touch in time. They had to hold on to the recall to touch and then recall and stay alive. And Mari just was not getting enough damage done onto them so they could die quickly enough and, we'll say, respawn quickly enough. But a little chaotic, to understate the obvious. Valentine, they showed signs of life, but 4-1 ends up being the final score of things. Nexus will take New Junk City. They will take Junkertown alongside earlier when they took both Samoa and New Queen Street. That's what.
There you go. There you go.
I was saying that.
That's all right. Yeah, I mean, phenomenal play from both the teams, and unfortunately Nexus just, again, maybe it's the in CGL time buff for something, but like it just was really clear that at some point Nexus's machine just kind of was clicking and turning a little bit faster. You know, for a team like Valentine who really are trying to go into the Calling All Heroes weekend, you know, on a high note, they just never really got all the pieces never really stayed together. There were moments of beauty from Ramsu, from Mari, from Wicca, who really, you know, had moments of shine, but it seems like they were just always constantly kept on the back foot from Sugaruru, Melophobia, and Dust.
It also seemed like Nexus were much more cognizant of the risks of the fights they were taking. A lot of the time they were setting up for them much earlier in those engagements. They were forcing Valentine to make many more adjustments than they could actually afford. At the end of the day, it just ended up being them with better mechanical skill. You could see that by some of these stats alone. You don't even have to watch the series for it. Now, numbers don't tell the full story, but here, they're a nice little capstone with everybody finishing with over 20 elims on one side and under on the other.
Yeah, and then let's add in the fact that our three of our members of Nexus ended up with over 10k damage, and therefore a few more eliminations. And on the other side, Ramsu and Snozlar, the DPS, they barely got to play the game at 12 deaths and 10 respectively. You could just tell they were just focusing them out. They were just denying them the ability to put pressure on the side of Nexus.
Well, it just seemed like Nexus ran the series, they own the series, they clear out the series. Midtown was the only scuff on their record. They win Samoa in mostly clean fashion. They lose Midtown, but they keep it close. And then, from then on, it just seemed like they took that Midtown loss personally. They absolutely owned New Junk City. That didn't even seem like we were there for all that long. I'll say it was a little bit closer in map 4. We did see New Queen Street go a little bit more back and forth, but here on Junkertown, there were not all that many concerns. First phase was a little bit concerning, second half, especially with the later stages of second phase, and then Valentine didn't win another fight.
Yeah, it was unfortunately just being able to chain those fights together, and it comes down to the teamwork. That's what makes a grand champion, right? So, I mean, for Nexus, this is the incredible send-off. This is the last time we'll see this exact 5 squad together. They're going off to better and bigger things in the OWCS, and for the side of Valentine, well, it'll be a great thing to review coming into this big, tough Calling All Heroes weekend. That's going to be the place where they shine, just like they have in the past. So, like you said earlier, if you don't win, you learn, and there was a lot of learning from both of these teams tonight.
Valentine, I think, will take away a lot more from this. Because Nexus is not in the position where they're going to be playing as consistently, if at all, together in the near future. You're looking at this from Valentine's perspective and saying this is an amazing tournament for them to walk away from, with that Calling All Heroes Major 1 coming out in the next 3 or so days. They will go into that with a lot of experience against stellar teams. Red being, I think, the #1 factor of that. The adjustability to lose the upper semis and then dominate lower finals and keep it close. I'll say they won at 3-2, but they didn't dominate. They dominated from a 3-0 loss. That's really what they needed. They will escape with a victory there, but they don't, at least not so easily here. The last hurrah for Nexus is indeed successful. That's it for myself and Soav over there. We're going to send it to an interview with Sugareru to see what Nexus think of this series.
What can we say? It was an insane game between Nexus and Valentine, but Billy, it's you and me, buddy. The Nexus 4-1 victory over Valentine. Hey, Headrammer, can you repeat to me what you said before we came on here? I think it was something 4-1.
Yeah.
Something about 4-0.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to double down. Yeah, a 4-1 prediction is for some people that aren't confident enough to predict a 4-0. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Billy and I were confident enough to be right. So Billy, I mean, what a game though, right? What a series this was, and what a grand finals. It was still a Nexus victory at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, this was the expected result. I mean, the season lined up for this. The previous tournaments lined up for this. The playoff run here, everything fell into order. And I thought there for a second that we were going to see Valentine get the going. And I started feeling it too. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh, we might be going a bit different. And then that all just went bye-bye. It just went bye-bye, clamped it down, and they got it done.
Ray, yeah, right. You were the believer. You were the hoper for the Map 7 banger of a series. We were looking at something there on Midtown. We were thinking that this might be the beginning of that happening, but no, Nexus just completely shut that down.
Yeah, literally behind the scenes after Midtown, I'm going, we might have a series here, might be closer to my prediction. And then I mute myself again and we watch the third map and I come back on like, yeah, Sam, Bill, you might be right there. We might be looking at a 4-1 because they just like took that momentum that had been stolen from them and snatched it right back. And they just took control from there. It was absolutely an insane just come back on that map and they just rode that to victory.
It really was. And Headrammer, we've been having our fun. We made our jokes, but at the end of the day, Nexus went through the gauntlet. They have accomplished it. They are the CGL NAPC Open Tier Grand Champions. What a title to hold, am I right?
Yeah, absolutely, and completely deserved. They were pretty dominant most of the season, honestly, not dropping too many maps throughout the season. You know, they had to work through a lot of scheduling conflicts throughout all the other tournaments they were part of, and did a pretty good job for part of it. I think my understanding is this roster isn't even technically a full roster anymore in terms of like they're not really competing each other beyond CGL after this. You know, their players going various different teams, you know, spreading out into the world. So it's a nice thing to see, like, you know, cap off your season. Your team might be together anymore, but you won.
You won. It's a phenomenal feeling. And what better way to celebrate phenomenal feelings than bringing on a phenomenal player to talk with? Yes, that is correct. We managed to grab one player from Nexus to come on to the desk and talk with us about everything that just happened. None other than DPS extraordinaire, Sugureru. So, Sugu, first of all, really glad to have you join us. How are you and the team feeling right now?
Well, we're feeling pretty good. We came in here expecting a tough match, and I would like to say it was pretty tough. Respect to all the players on the other team. I've played with some of them, and I've known some of these players for a long time. And as our team, we did pretty good. So I'm really, really proud of us.
First of all, we do love the respect and the sportsmanship that's on display, Sugu. You know, we got that pick'ems that happened a few weeks ago that got a little saucy, but at the end of the day, we see good sports here, and we really do love that. And also playing pretty good. I would say that you guys were playing out of your minds, but that's just me. I'm a bronze cardboard 7 player. So anyways, I'm going to leave it to the rest of the desk, starting off with Ray, if you want to ask some questions.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, coming into this series, it seemed like map number 1, you guys came out guns a-blazing, and Samoa wasn't all that close, but second map, they come back on Midtown, and they get the best of you guys. What was kind of like the comms behind the scene? How did you guys focus up and absolutely dominate that third map in Junkertown, New Junk City?
Well, for New Junk City, honestly, we weren't in our heads at all. I think you guys might have seen I was on Pharah. My whole team dared me to play Pharah, and they thought I wouldn't, so I just played it. And then I think it just brought up the vibes, and then it just, you know, we rolled the ball from there, and we
trying to be Pelican on Pharah. He's been running a lot with Pharah lately.
I love it. I love it. I tell you what, you know, looking at your guys' run there through Midtown, what do you think went wrong on Midtown? Because Valentine did lift their level, but you guys looked a little bit stagnant at points. Tell me what happened on Midtown, because it wasn't against the run of your normal play.
Yeah, I think that might be one of their better maps for them as a team. And for us, we don't really play the SIG Brig comp, personally. I can admit I had some very, very troll plays on my end, so that might have attributed a little bit to why it was very, very close. But overall, I mean, we did pretty good on that map, so I'm not too mad at us.
Headrammer, any questions from you, buddy?
I'm honestly really curious to know what's next for you and maybe your team, because my understanding is correct that your roster is not staying together after this, right?
I'm not sure. Well, Hanbei and me on like Unking, and some other players are on some other teams. But for myself, I've been playing in the CGL for like whatever these past 3 seasons. I played with Rift, I played with Bonzi, and now Nexus. I managed to win all 3, so that's pretty cool.
Another 3-peat winner, huh?
Back to back.
But I don't know. I feel like I'd want to play in CGL again because it's fun, but we'll see what the road holds for me.
That's ominous. I like that. Any other questions from the rest of the desk members?
I think everybody's tired.
I think so too. It is. It's 11:50.
Yeah, we don't
it's
want to
almost
keep
midnight
too
here.
long. He's a little sick.
Yeah, I don't want to keep Sugu too late.
Yeah, Sugu was coming on here. He was like, "Yeah, I had a 102-degree fever earlier in the day, and
105.
105. Okay, there you go. See, that's
Warrior.
honestly really impressive. You come out here, you show up in force. You got that
Michael Jordan
new
flu
Queen
game,
Street.
baby.
Yeah, you got that new Queen Street ace. I mean, that was really cool to see and to be able to witness, and played your heart out and gave us a phenomenal amount of Overwatch. So Sugu, before we let you go, is there anybody that you want to shout out there in the world?
Shout out Hanbei, shout out the whole like Nexus team. They brought me in like last second, so I didn't even play the regular season, and I just got to play these finals. So, you know,
You came in and you came, you swept, and you conquered. So congratulations, Sugu, and congratulations to Nexus on your win. We do hope to see you in CGL again, buddy.
I hope I can come back. Thank you guys.
All right. Well, yeah, get well, please. No more fever. Go out there, get some medicine, and start feeling.
Like I just got over sickness. I hope he gets better quickly.
All right, but that is going to be the epic finale and the epic conclusion here on the desk and in that interview. But there's still one more thing we need to do. We need to crown our MVP for this series. We had Sugureru on the desk, and even though we thought they were amazing at pretty much everything that they were doing, it does have to go to another. It is going to go to the other star DPS player of this Nexus squad, and that is Melophobia. And so, Ray, we got to start off with you. What's the reasoning that we're seeing here behind Melophobia in this MVP crown?
I think it was just consistency, dominance, and just flexibility on multiple heroes, whether it was the Mei, the Tracer, the Cassidy at one point. So I think they just played top tier Overwatch on multiple heroes. And I mean, Sugu also made some great plays. It was really tough to pick between the two of them, but Melophobia did a fantastic job.
Yeah, Billy, we were sitting here. We were like, which one of these two DPS? Because we were like, it's got to be the DPS. It's so easy typically to pick the DPS as an MVP, but these two players were really elevating it to another level.
I mean, they're the reason why Nexus did this. And we saw it, an opening pick from Sugu. That's why I was leaning towards Sugu, is we saw a lot of first contact kills come out from Sugu. They started out fights with a kill from Sugu, and so I mean, Melophobia, this was insane on Samoa. The pulse bomb attach rate, I think, was also a big reason why we ended up giving it to Melophobia, because we all know you don't land all of your pulse bombs, but a lot of them were being landed there by Melophobia. And you know what, I got to give it to Melophobia because CGL representation in OWCS, they had a pretty good run leading up to it, and I think they're doing pretty well in Face It as well. So I mean, good stuff from them. That's why in the end they get the MVP nod.
Yeah, for any of you guys, they were on Daybreak in OWCS, and they did a great job. They were with Mari on that team, so
yeah,
very fun.
But Headrammer, our final MVP of the season, our grand finalist MVP, our grand champion MVP, rather. It's a Heavy that wears the crown, but the crown is looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the perfect way to tip off, or not tip off. Just finish off the season. Honestly, like it's, you came out dominating the season, and you were the the person that really showed off your skills the entire time. I mean, they saw it across all the roles that they were playing because they were popping off with Tracer the entire time, but we even saw them playing Genji towards the end, which I don't know how much I've seen them play Genji before, but they were doing a pretty good job especially against a team that really excels against playing around Rosu, who's an excellent Genji player themselves.
They also, Melophobia also gave me some Cassidy playing tonight, and as a Cassidy main, my heart was singing. So, congratulations to Melophobia on your MVP. Final congratulations to Nexus on being the grand champions. Now, there is something to look forward to, though. Just because the season is over does not mean that CGL isn't doing anything else in the upcoming months, in the upcoming weeks. So, let's go ahead and start talking about that. Billy, you got some things circulating around. Looks like you got some things on the mind.
We got some stuff on the mind. We got some stuff coming up before the next iteration of the MTT. Towards the end of June, we're going to have some kind of a off-season tournament. Not sure what it's going to be, though. Yeah, me too. Oh, my Lord. Okay. We got Summer Games. Whenever Summer Games comes out, we're going to have a Lucio Ball tournament. Please join that. We're going to have another Goats tournament. We're going to be running some bugs, again, to get the bugs sorted out. And then September is tentatively the point where we will have MTT 14 coming up. So that's that. That's all that's coming up. Keep an eye on the announcements in the CGL Discord for any other stuff that's coming up. But that's pretty much it.
All right, there you go. And before we close it out, I do want to get some final thoughts from all of us. Real quick, though, Ray, starting with you.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most successful seasons CGL has had. It's been amazing. So I want to thank a lot of people. I mean, Headrammer obviously being at the top and allowing and making a lot of this happen. Billy, who's come on and really helped me out as running the stream team. It's been a great help to have someone to, talk about things and organize things. I want to thank all the casters. I think they really stepped up their game this season and they did a fantastic job. So I think it was like the highest level of casting we've had in CGL. And then just thanks all the teams and everyone who watches in Twitch chat. It was just, again, best season of CGL we've ever had. And I'm just very proud to say that.
And Billy, final closing thoughts from yourself.
I mean, it's been a blessing. I've been here a long time, and it's been a fantastic time, and I can't wait for what's coming up next. Onwards and upwards, as always.
As always. And Headrammer?
Yeah, no, it's always, it's like both of us are gonna curse when the season's over, There's all the stress from running the event and, like, all the stuff. It's like, it's great to see everything come together. But at the same time, it's nice to have a little bit of break for a bit, It's good to have those downtimes between things, allow us to sit down and improve stuff. Honestly, I think we stepped up on a lot of stuff this season, and I want to really kind of double down for the next season and do even more. I think we got moving a lot of things that I've been wanting to get moving for quite a while now. Bringing back the whole death segments, the Friday Night Overwatch, having the CGL lowlights. Next season, we're going to have even more content. We're going to have more regular podcasts. We're going to have game shows. We're going to have even more of the Hero Select interviews. I want something that comes out pretty much every single day, essentially, for content, whether it be league streams or just side supplementary content. I want to be able to both amplify our players as well as all our staff in what they're doing. Because that's kind of what this entire place is. It's meant to give people a place to play as well as, or give people a place to start, whether it be as a player or staff. It should be. I'm looking forward to next season, but I'm also looking for the break a little bit too.
I will say, before we do cut it out, keep an eye out on the CGL socials as DreamHack is getting closer. There's going to be a lot to be had on socials as a lot of us are going to be converging CGL family in Dallas for DreamHack.
There we are.
Yeah, so if you're going to be there and you see us, say hello.
Yeah.
Say hello.
I'll probably be wearing my Headrammer CGL jersey.
All right.
I'll have my CGL hoodie. Yeah.
It has been a long road with all of you on the desk, from all of our casters, our production crew, behind the scenes, and of course the amazing players, and you, the viewer, who helped to make this all possible. So before we close things out, I do want to leave us all one of my favorite Overwatch quotes, I think is very apt and always very appropriate. Except the world as it appears to be, dare to see it for what it could be. Thank you all so much for watching this season. We look forward to seeing you all in the next broadcast.
Yeah.